Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
Where are you in the game?
Never.
Hey!
Hey! Bull late to get wired up today. That's very rare.
It's the first.
Where were you?
Maybe the day I was sick.
Where were
when I threw up.
you? Were everything okay?
I just was at the hospital this morning. And
How did it go? You dropped your wife
so
off,
far,
right?
no, I dropped her off yesterday afternoon, but
Okay.
I wanted to go by this morning because she needed some things. So far, so good.
Good.
So
You told us
Great
about the
news.
whole situation yesterday.
Yeah,
We're all
yeah.
thinking about her.
Thank
We're
you.
all. She's got a big team of people behind her.
Yes.
I know you know
Appreciate that.
Welcome to the show. What a sports night last night.
Woo.
With the Cavs holding on for the win, and then the World Baseball Classic. It was interesting that the ending really featured two guys in the shadow of Hollywood. Hollywood couldn't have written a more beautiful ending to this World Baseball Classic. We're going to dive into that.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk a lot about the Browns. A lot of rumors flying around. I know rumors. We're in the rumor season, but
Yes.
man, there were a lot of things yesterday that I only saw. I saw single sourced. I didn't see a lot of people reporting the same thing, but a lot of kind of almost reckless speculation about what's going on.
I don't even know where the Jerry Jeudy thing started.
I don't
either.
I don't either.
It just
The only person I know of I'm not going to give him a name, credit, because the guy's a fraud, but that's the only guy I've seen it from, and I don't know if I buy any of it.
I'm taking 40% of the firestorm. Listen, I'm taking 40% of that. Everybody is up in arms on the internet today. Like Twitter.
Last night it was nuts.
Fire. You got people arguing.
Yesterday.
No, we don't want him. Yes, we want him. Listen, it's going crazy. People like, why are you stirring us up?
Well, we're going to stir everybody up because we're going to go around the horn and talk about A, do you want them? B, what's the price that you're
Everybody
willing
wants them. Don't be a liar about it. If you get them, there's going to be nobody that's unhappy.
I think there are some people that don't want them because they're factoring in the price. So, I mean, it's okay if you have that opinion.
It depends on the price.
It depends on the price.
Depends on the price.
Would the Browns be better with him on the roster?
Yep.
Yes. But then the next question is, at what price? We'll dive into that. We're going to talk at length about that. Also, the Browns are really beefing up their special teams. I'm glad you're here today because you know a lot about what goes in to having a good special teams unit and how that unit can rub off on the other sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get your take on all of that. Interesting comments from Brian Windhorst about the Cavs maybe having buyer's remorse on Donovan Mitchell. McNuggets is going to help us set that up. We're going to discuss that. And again, as I said, a lot of World Baseball Classic talk. And if you're not familiar with Ohtani, and I'm still shocked at the number of people that know of him but really don't, like last night was kind of his coming out party for a lot of people. That's fine. We're going to ask this question. He's coming up on a new contract. It'll be the richest contract in the history of baseball.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the history of sports.
Maybe, possibly. There's been some soccer deals that you look at and say,
true.
wait a minute, they paid what?
Right.
It's definitely going to be the richest contract in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
We're going to ask the question, if you're the Guardians and you're sitting on a lot of assets, which they are, do you go all in to get Ohtani as a rent-a-player from, say, July through the run to try to put your team over the hump and into the heart of that World Series discussion? It'll be a fun conversation. I'm sure there'll be multiple answers, but we'll do that. Meantime, Bulls bet of the day? You won yesterday.
Yes. More importantly than the Cavs winning, the Cavs covered.
It was close, though.
Yeah, the Nets chucked up a three at the buzzer that would have cost me the cover, right? Because they won by 5 or 6.
They won by 6, I think.
They won by 6.
115-109.
Right. And no, it wouldn't have been a push if he hit that
it was a
three.
4-point spread. It would have covered.
I thought it was 3.
I would have lost.
I thought you had a 3.
I thought it was -3.
No, it was 3.5. I think it was 3.5.
Maybe it was 3.
No, I
don't know.
swear it was -3.
In my mind, it was 4. So I guess it would have been a push. But I was like, no! He shot that shot.
Bull got him at -3 yesterday. So
So it would have been a push. But I don't want to push. I want to win.
Yeah,
and we got the win, and the Cavs
Which,
won.
by the way, I was kind of surprised that they did chuck up the 3. I mean, I get it. You want to score every point you can, but
the game's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
They trying to win people some money. What do you
I
mean?
suppose so.
Right.
Somebody
They know the
somebody
spread.
took the spread.
So I'm finally back over 500 for the first
What
time
are
in
you,
like 2 weeks.
12 and 11, 13,
12 and
12?
11, and as always,
Nice.
both bets are brought to us by Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Bet Rivers is the place to be for every single game. Right now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers. When you use deposit code SPORTS, you receive a second chance bet up to $500. You can get in on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like basketball and Bull's favorite, hockey. To help you win big,
fan.
check out BetRivers.com or download the Bet Rivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boosts.
And check out my Bet Rivers podcast today, where I talk a lot about the World Baseball Classic. Next Wednesday, I'll be doing my MLB preview on my Bet Rivers podcast. Also, NBA playoff picture and some NFL news and notes today as well. All right, the bet today, you got it? We're sticking in the NBA. I'm going with the Warriors. Obviously, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, how what is it, 5th through, I think, 12th.
4th through 12th. It's separated by
is it
2
4?
games.
Yeah, you're right. It's 4 through 12 separate. I think it's 3 games now, but still.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The Warriors
are the
Warriors
6th right now.
And they're a game from being the 11th.
Well, they're actually tied in the loss columns with the teams in 7, 9, and 10.
Yeah, so they're in a
So
really
it's
this
crazy.
is a must-win for them.
It's a big game. Luka Doncic has been banged up. I don't think he's playing tonight.
Oh, I
right?
thought he was playing.
Is he playing?
One sec.
Either way, I'm taking the Warriors, but I like them better, obviously.
If
Doncic
he's
was
not playing, that's a steal.
Yeah. Well, the game's in Dallas.
I know, but this is like a playoff game for the Warriors, and they're
Luka is doubtful. Draymond Green also doubtful.
Right.
Okay.
But
Kyrie
Luka's
Irving
I
also
thought I saw
doubtful.
that Luka was
Oh,
playing.
and Kyrie is doubtful as well. So, obviously, I like the Warriors' chances. They have Steph Curry, and the Mavs might be without their 2 best players. So we'll go with the
Yeah.
Warriors tonight on
that
the
might
road.
be stealing. I mean,
Yeah,
if both
I'm taking that.
If both those guys
Kyrie
don't play,
and, oh man, yeah, I really like your
Steal.
chances
Yeah,
because
so-
this really does feel like a playoff game for them.
Yeah,
the rest
well,
of the year
because you
does.
don't want to be in the play-in if you're if
No.
you're the Warriors, you feel like you're going to win it, but you don't
Bull,
want
the
to have to
crazy
take a
thing
chance.
is they can go from the 6th to the 11, which is out.
Even 12. Now
Which is
11 and
out,
12.
yeah. I
Right
mean,
now,
they're
the
out.
Lakers are tied at 11
They
with,
are.
I can't remember who. By the way, everybody in the West is playing poor right now, except for Oklahoma City, of all teams.
Yeah, they're hot, but I wouldn't take them in the playoffs.
Right.
But, they're
But, like,
hot.
who would you take in the West right now?
I don't like Denver just by default.
But they've been, and maybe this is the year they get over, but they've been so bad in the playoffs.
The
They
Kings.
Sacramento.
The
is like
Kings.
Yeah, I
crazy.
know. They've been quietly
It's crazy.
really, really good.
Anyway.
Suns with
But I'll
KD.
tell you what, we talked about this yesterday. I wouldn't want the Warriors or Lakers. I wouldn't want them.
It also wouldn't surprise me if they lost in the first round. I mean, I think for the first time in a long time, I'll give the NBA credit for this because I'm often critical of too many teams. I think the West is a complete crapshoot.
You think
Yeah.
the Warriors could lose in the first
I
round?
think depending on who they play.
Bro, they're a game from missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
Travis, they're 8-29 on the road this year.
I know it's not
the
likely.
Warriors.
And by the way, that 8-29, this is what disgusts
They're not
me.
the same team,
They-
guys.
Of
They're
that
not the same
8-29, remember, they came here into Rocket Mortgage and rested their 4 stars
and still
beat a Cavs team that we somehow think can make a run.
Well, the Warriors is dealing. I mean, they missing one of their best defenders because he's dealing with some personal issues that's really messed up.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins. So yeah.
Yeah, plus Draymond's banged up. Klay
Exactly.
Thompson's not the same player anymore, clearly.
not,
Curry's
no.
still great, but
I mean, Klay Thompson.
He been a shell of himself for a while.
Klay Thompson could get you 50, though.
he could.
He could.
Does that mean anything anymore in the NBA?
Yes, it
I
does.
guess it still
Yeah,
does.
it does.
The ability is there. It's
Yeah.
just not going to do it night in and night
Yeah.
out, that's for sure. All right, let's talk about Jerry Jeudy. Rumors flying everywhere. What it would take. 1st-round pick, 2nd-round pick, and a player. The reports that we saw yesterday, I think I'm referring to the same one you
Yeah.
are, is that the Browns are in on Jeudy for a 2nd and a player. Like that would make them players in this whole, Jerry
Yeah.
Jeudy sweepstakes that has suddenly, become the talk of the free agent season,
Yeah.
probably because he's one of the
Now-
biggest pieces left.
Right.
Do you buy that that's even a thing?
Now listen, Benjamin Albright's the guy who reported this. He and I have had a couple of. I've never met the guy. He's never met me.
Right.
We've had a couple of shots at each other on Twitter in the past. The guy hasn't worked for anybody in the media perspective. Like he did at one point, but he hasn't worked in the media actively, as far as I know, unless something's changed, in years. So I don't know how he has these connections. Maybe he does. I do think he is headquartered in Denver. So if he's going to get anything right, it would be something connected to Denver. But I take anything he puts out there with a huge grain of salt because whenever people have hyped up things he said before, he's usually wrong. so I don't trust it. Now, we did have one of our local reporters, and I'll give him a shout-out, Brad Stainbrook, who I'd never heard of until about a year ago.
No, but he also broke the...
He broke the...
And was right on it, too,
Yes,
by the way. One of the Browns signings.
I can't remember which one.
It was...
He had the Mo Hurst signing.
The Maurice Hurst. He broke it,
That's
so
right.
kudos to him. I mean,
he got it right.
You know, the kid's, I don't know, I call him a kid. I don't know who he is. I never met him, but I've been following him on Twitter now for a year.
He is a kid.
He is a kid?
College student, yeah.
Well, good for him. He's making his way. Good for him to break a story, because these days, even I know it's not a huge story, Maurice Hurst, but it's a story.
Sure.
And these days, local beat reporters rarely break signings.
Yeah.
It's almost always the national guys. And he said in his tweet, and I give him more credibility than Benjamin Albright, that Greg Newsome is not in this conversation. Obviously, this kid's got at least one solid connection with the Browns because he had that Hurst signing. So he's got to have somebody. So he says Newsome's not in any trade package, or at least
the Broncos haven't requested him. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not,
That doesn't mean that the Browns may not have offered him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's entirely possible.
That don't mean that the Broncos might not want him necessarily. It might be maybe it's Denzel.
What
maybe
it tells me is
somebody else.
When you hold the asset that teams want, typically you're in the driver's seat and you get to pick the assets that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Teams can make offers all they want.
Yeah.
But the way it typically works, not always, but the way it typically works is you hold the ace.
Yeah.
You get to dictate who you're asking for. Now, it doesn't always match up and they move on.
Yeah.
But
there's also some supply and demand to it, right?
Absolutely.
Like who's got the hammer in the Jets-Packers thing?
Sure.
The Packers
that
can say,
that was unique.
right? Well, it's not done yet.
No, but it's
Packers
unique
right.
because
hold the cards.
the player and the new team
Right.
have already. Everyone knows they want to get married,
shouldn't-
Right.
But
they
the
shouldn't have did
ex-spouse is saying,
They should-
I hold the keys here.
However,
did
though,
that.
who else could the Packers trade him to at this
Well,
point?
the Packers really are in a spot. They're both in spots.
Right.
And so it's going to. I
Who's gonna
love the
blink
way
first?
you said it. Who has the hammer?
Yeah.
Does he have
Usually
a-
there is a team that has a hammer,
Right.
but in this particular,
I'm not sure.
I don't know who has it.
Yeah, I
Does
don't
he
know.
have a no trade clause?
I don't know that he does, but I don't. I would maybe he does because I can't imagine that he would have gone and worked a deal with a team.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
what
So he must have a no
Probably.
trade clause. but-
I'm a firm believer in getting deals done quickly. I don't believe when you drag. Listen, we just went through a merger. Psych, almost, kind of. Like when you let things drag on, you let a lot of stuff get in the way of just getting it over with. And then usually, at the end, how much more assets do you usually get? The first offer usually is probably the best one. Somebody believes that they're getting shortchanged, and then you have to go back and revisit, and you say, well, I should have just took the first offer and kept it moving.
Do you want Jeudy? Because you said everybody does. Or they're
I
lying
mean,
to
it's
themselves.
a no-brainer you'd want him.
Yeah.
Obviously,
But
there's
at what price?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I can't imagine there's a price the Browns would pay that we would all be up in arms about. I understand. People have made a big deal. He hasn't had 1,000 yards, and that's fair. And for me, the new benchmark is at least 1,100, if not 1,200. But he hasn't even had 1,000.
Right.
But if you look at, first of all, the skill is completely there. He is an immensely talented guy.
He looks the part.
No doubt. All right. And my guy TA, again, put out some advanced stats on him that were really impressive. He's had no quarterback, right? In his first couple of years in Denver, they had nothing at quarterback. This year, Russell Wilson was absolute trash.
Worst he's ever been.
Awful. So he's had some injury issues. The other guys around him have been often injured. They had no running game last year. So the defense is completely focused on him. If you put him on a better team with a better quarterback, with a better game plan, like to me, the upside for him is like I think he'd be a 1,500 yard receiver.
Wow.
I think he could be that good.
Yeah.
Now, I can't pay a huge price because he hasn't been productive enough. However, the Broncos don't like people keep comparing it to the Amari Cooper situation. Like Amari Cooper's more accomplished. Well, yes, he is. But Amari Cooper was 4 years older than Jerry Jeudy is now when he got traded. The Cowboys felt they had to trade Cooper for cap reasons. The Broncos are not in that position. And at least right now, Judy's making a lot less money than Cooper. You'd probably have to negotiate a deal. But it's not an apples-to-apples comparison. You're not getting him for a 4th and 5th round pick.
No.
Because they don't feel like they need to trade him.
They don't need to trade him.
They don't need to. So it's going to take a lot.
In fact, I'm surprised they would even be talking about trading him.
Well,
I really am.
But
I am too, to be honest with you.
You're stuck with Russ. I mean, as bad as he was last year, you're stuck with him.
And he was the
why
only.
Would you take his really biggest
Makes no
threat
sense.
and trade him. If I'm Russ, I'm looking at him going, are you trying to sabotage me?
Especially with Sean Payton
said the
there.
same thing.
Because you're trying to turn it around right away. Go ahead, G.
I believe that I used to think the same way, but more and more I sit here and think about it. When you are Sean Payton, right? What happened when Sean Payton was with the Saints? They had Drew Brees. They was paying a quarterback a boatload of money, and they had this purgatory where every single year they had to do these gymnastics because they was over the cap. Now you get here and you say, okay, well, listen, I learned from my lesson. You already got Russell Wilson. We're going to let that ride out, but here's what we're not going to do. I'm not paying nobody else no big-time contracts that I need to see that it's going to hold me back.
Yeah, but you got to win, G.
You do got to win.
You don't trade your best receiver. Doesn't make any sense.
No. Here's the thing. Say, for instance, you come in and you don't even think that he's worth the extension.
I mean, clearly, right now, that's where they sitting at right now.
Well, if it's true that they're looking to trade him.
Well,
I mean, we don't even know.
I'm saying he hasn't done anything to look like he's supposed to be one of these high-paid wide receivers.
Let's do this exercise. When the season starts in September, Jerry Jeudy's wearing which team's helmet?
I hope the Browns, but I'm saying the Broncos.
I think the Broncos.
I agree with that too.
I would lean on the Broncos, but if the Browns have any chance to make the move, I'd make it.
At what price? Because I know you're definitely in the camp of we need this guy. By the way, I am too.
The Browns ain't giving up on it.
We also need a linebacker.
Right.
And the thought is right now, if they were to do this deal, it would suck the second-round pick away.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Which means now you're looking at a third-round pick to come in at linebacker and start or at least give you a lot of plays a game right away.
So would you rather have Jerry Jeudy or the crapshoot linebacker in the second round?
Jerry Jeudy.
I mean,
yeah, but you said yesterday you talked about how important the linebacker
It is, but here's how I know
that cupboard's going to be bare if you make this deal.
Let me ask you,
how many rookie linebackers come in, wear the green dot, be a monster?
Oh, that's once a year.
there's a very easy answer, guys.
But my thing is, first of all, when is Taki coming back?
We don't know.
I'm not
Forget
sure.
Taki. There's a
don't know what
very
his
easy
timetable
answer
is.
to this question.
What's that?
The very easy answer is trade a second-round pick this year and a third-round pick next year to get Jerry Jeudy.
Yes.
And then go freaking sign Bobby Wagner.
There it is.
And that's the end of it.
There it is.
Bobby ain't coming here.
There
bro.
it is.
Why not?
Because Bobby is old and he
wants to win.
Bobby is not.
Is weather going to play a part
Yes,
in
it
an
is.
old
Bobby
body?
not coming
don't
over
wanna
here.
come.
Weather
They're not
plays a part. When you
Listen,
get
him, then.
them vets is not playing in the cold. Unless it's a dog. And Bobby is a huge Cowboys fan, and I seen them talking, so I wouldn't.
So rather luck on Bobby.
Well, listen.
Listen, it's a lot
He
of
also
vets
likes
with
money.
A lot of vets will tell me for the right price. Now they will throw that helmet on and come to
Now here's the
Cleveland.
thing. You see how I take things? Look, obviously he know these people.
Yeah.
He already probably told him, I ain't coming up there, dog. It's way too cold. I've been in LA. I'm going to wait these Cowboys out. I don't want to go to camp. All right, well, let's keep it moving. Jerry Jeudy or any second-round pick you going to get in the second round, if he was in this draft, where would he be off the board?
He'd be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, but we looking at it totally different. Look, the Browns should absolutely make the trade, and I'm going to tell you why they should make the trade. Yes, his numbers aren't great, but he does have the potential to be really a good receiver.
You're making a bet.
So, So what I'm saying is Amari Cooper's deal is over after this season.
Yeah.
Why not go get a number one receiver for the future?
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, 24 years old?
the torch.
We'll have him for as long as we want. Yeah. We got our guy. We'll pay DPJ his little couple dollars. It ain't gonna be like him. And there we go. Once Amari Cooper's over with, we'll have those three for this season.
Who plays
you got
linebacker?
the roll tide connection,
right?
He gonna teach him everything, the ins and outs.
I love that.
So
But I'm looking at the whole picture. Who plays linebacker?
Who plays linebacker this season?
You go find him.
Tyvis Powell come in there. I can call him. I call him Mike. What you mean?
You better get talking about drafting a wide
I'm
receiver.
230.
But Jay, we've been
Yes, I am. I feel
we've
that.
been talking about drafting a wide receiver in the second round anyway. So then you wouldn't, in theory, be able to draft a linebacker until the third round.
Yeah. However, I know we have been talking about drafting a wide receiver,
Yeah.
and that's been the thought. For me, it was DL. I think we've checked that box.
Yes.
But now, when you look at area of most need, like where are the alarm bells going
So
off?
you saying we can't?
To me, it's now linebacker.
We can't get Anthony Walker back on a cheap $3
No.
million deal?
No.
Why can't we?
Well, didn't he? Where
He
was
hasn't signed.
He ain't
No,
signed
but he
nothing.
met with the
He went to
Commanders.
Commanders.
Yeah, the Commanders.
But no contract.
Who's going to give a linebacker a ton of money off of an ACL injury?
But
Don't worry, I'll
Here's
wait.
the problem,
Do you want to
Jay.
be the team that does it?
For
Jay,
$2 or
here's the
$3 million for a year? Yeah, why
Here's
not?
the problem with what you're saying. You're saying, well, we need a wide receiver, we need a linebacker. Well, wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy's proven. Now, he's not proven great. He's proven good,
Sure.
and we think he can be great. At this point, he's saying you can't get Bobby Wagner. There's no other linebacker
I'm
you can
just
get that
saying-
you know
I'm
is any
saying
good.
it's slim.
Draft or not. You
Very
have no
slim.
idea. It's a
You
crapshoot.
know what we're going to be doing next September when the season starts? We're going to be saying about the linebackers the same thing we were saying about the defensive line this year.
Well, I told you. No,
And then in November we'll say,
wait a
we've
minute.
been telling you
Wait
you
a minute.
needed
No,
linebackers.
wait a
You
minute.
can't fill
Hold
every
on,
hole in
'cause
one
see,
offseason.
now we talking on the defensive side of the ball. The defensive line was so bad that it made the linebackers look bad last year.
It did.
So the Browns went with this smaller, quicker linebacker. If you got that D line shored up and they eating up them linemen, those linebackers are free to make plays on the ball.
But
I
as
think
we
they
said-
can definitely
Yeah,
do
but I
that.
pointed out yesterday, have you seen a team's linebacking core decimated by injury as much as the Browns were last year?
No.
They've gone small.
Yeah.
They've taken a lot of first hits.
Well, yeah,
the
because
DL isn't hitting the running back.
Okay, so they went out there and they adjusted the D line, so now they're not gonna have that many hits.
Well, you can hope.
You would think.
Adam,
you would think.
No,
I'm
that's-
just
that-
gonna-
in theory, you're right.
I'm just gonna go with this. I watched the Super Bowl just like everybody else did, right?
Yeah.
And I heard everybody named Mom just talk about how dominant the Eagles were gonna be and how dominant that secondary and all these other people. Yeah, they was good. But when you trying to win a doggone Super
It's all
Bowl,
about the offense.
Yeah.
Now,
if you cannot look at Patrick Mahomes in his face and Andy Reid and say, I can get 40 like you, you're dead. There's nothing else to talk about. It's crazy. You guys don't get it? See, we are in the mode right now where we're still in the mode of fans in a city that wants to be relevant, right?
Right.
We've been looking for a franchise quarterback so long. You just want somebody to throw the ball and look nice a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're not there anymore, people. See, that fear you got in the bottom of your stomach is, we got time. We can do that. No. This is what real fan bases and real cities do when you have a franchise quarterback. Every single year you're reshuffling. You're always looking to get better. You think the Buffalo Bills is sitting back? They got Stephon Diggs. They said, we got to get more points. We got to find something else. So here we are. Either you want a backer, which you do need one.
You got to take the hit somewhere.
But guess what? You can't beat Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow with some second-round linebacker. You bringing a knife to a gunfight. And these guys got nuclear missiles. The reason you get nuclear missiles is as a deterrent, so everybody else don't have theirs. Y'all better go get y'all some.
This is what I would say. I would say this. I would pick the wide receiver because if the Browns
that's a defensive guy.
It's sad that I'm saying
you're
that.
a
In the draft, though, there's no question a wide receiver can have a bigger impact.
But
in year
what
one.
I'm saying is, I think last year the Browns were in the camp of we're going to be up in games, and at the end of the day, if the Browns are winning, if they win in the game, and the defense could get one stop in the fourth quarter, Nick Chubb can bleed the time out. We got the running game to bleed the time out.
Yeah, we do.
So we can win a lot of games if we just score.
Yes.
As far as the linebacker, I don't think a linebacker. I won't say that because obviously we've seen the leadership is huge, but I think they've addressed the leadership position. They got Juan Thornhill, who was a Super Bowl guy. They got Dalvin Tomlinson. They got a coach now. So I think the leadership part of it will be addressed,
So let's
and I
just
think it's different.
So let's, for now, we're going to think that we'll just say the linebackers will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, by the way. I think Schwartz and his scheme will make a huge difference.
I do too.
I think Joe Wood's scheme exposed our linebackers because there was a paper wall up front.
It's personnel issues. We'll find.
Yes.
I tell you, the thing
We're
about
gonna
Joe
find
Woods
out.
is we're gonna find
We're
out
gonna
this
find
year
out.
with the
especially
Saints
about
and
the
the Browns.
linebackers,
We're gonna
because the
find out.
linebackers are going to be mostly the same at this point.
It
But
looks
the
like
bottom
it,
line
yeah.
is, I agree with G. You got to have the firepower on offense to compete with all these great offensive teams in the league. Yeah, it's not great that they have an improved linebacker at this point. But, the Browns have improved. Now, again, we don't want to go over the top on how much they've improved on the D-line. They've clearly improved on the D-line.
Yeah, they're better.
If you get Jerry Jeudy, that's a huge upgrade at wide receiver, in my opinion. Your offense, with Deshaun Watson for a full season, in theory, should be significantly better.
Do you do the second round in a starter?
I'd rather trade 2 draft picks.
Yeah, I'd rather trade 2 draft picks
I know,
too.
I know.
Who's the starter is the question.
Well,
I don't want to trade.
Genu is out.
well, it sounds like they're not interested in
Genu
New,
is
so
out. So.
I'll trade a 2nd-round pick and
tell
then
you
a 3rd
what-
rounder
You trade
next
Taylor?
year or whatever.
What about an offensive lineman?
Wyatt Teller?
I don't think the Broncos need an offensive lineman, do
I
they?
don't think they do.
They just signed Ben Powers. in free
Yeah, they just
agency.
signed a
Okay.
guard. I don't
Forget a
think
guard. You want Jedrick Wills?
No,
just signed
I'm not
McGlinchey.
messing
They
with the
signed
players.
McGlinchey,
Starting
yeah.
left tackle.
If the Broncos are moving on for Jerry Jeudy,
What about this?
to me it means to some degree they're building for the long term.
what-
I'm trading them draft picks.
What if they said, and this is probably not what they're asking
Yeah.
for, but what if they said they wanted the 2nd and DPJ? Would you give it up?
No.
It's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Their stats last year were almost identical.
He had
Yeah,
more.
it's
Judy
great.
had,
So why would
Judy
you trade
had more.
guys?
Judy
why
had more
would you
touchdowns.
trade guys whose production was very, very similar?
Yeah, but it's
and
not a-
throw in a 2nd-round pick.
But
I don't know.
It's not
I don't know what he.
apples to
Yeah,
apples.
I said it's not. I'm just
Sure it
throwing
is.
something out there.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, 64.9 overall, receiving 67.7. Let's get to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry
I
Jeudy
just asked
had more production, and he was a 78.4 in overall, and he was a 78 in receiving.
I don't think they would ever ask
There's
for that.
no-
I'm just throwing something out there crazy.
I don't think
Jeudy
the Browns
had-
would do that. First of all, they're trying to strengthen their receiving core.
But if
you want him along with DPJ and Amari Cooper.
I would,
In a perfect world, I don't really want to trade him.
I don't-
If
you
that was
neither.
the only way to get it done, I would do it.
Now,
Because Judy's got, to me, is way better. than
Still
Donovan.
need another body then.
Well, Tyvus know this, and I don't know. I don't no knock against Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think people is really going like, oh, we got to have him. We don't want to listen. We just talking apples to apples. You guard receivers. You look at them every day.
Mm-hmm.
Which person is
Judy's
better?
way better than Donovan Peoples-Jones, isn't he?
What were their receiving yards and touchdowns last year?
Judy is it's the shaking is
Yeah.
harder than the boxing out. I think you can live with the boxing out because it's a 50-50 ball you can get to. But if you playing catch up and you trying to dictate what route he gonna run off of a shake, that it can be a long day for you. That's like asking me would I rather go up against Keenan Allen or I don't know AJ Brown or something like that. Like it's the shake, the smoothness is crazy.
There for me.
For me, you got to look at when you like the production. Matter of fact, you can take the production and just get rid of, even though his production is better than Peoples-Jones. When it comes to route running, in and out of the breaks, like
Now, don't get Judy spent a lot of time shaking, and that's one thing I don't like. He got to get in and out more.
Didn't Judy miss some games last year?
He did miss a few games.
1 or 2, I
Yeah.
think.
and
I had him on my fantasy
and he
team,
had
I
some
should know,
drops.
yeah.
He had some drops his rookie year.
Yeah.
But Amari Cooper had more drops than that.
If you
his
watch
rookie year.
them play, to me, there's no comparison.
If you just watch,
Yeah.
You're
him
talking about a
play-
second-round pick guy. That's it. That's our biggest asset in the draft.
But in the totality of it, what is it?
I mean, we've
It's
just
second
talked
round-
about how the
mean,
Browns have we not talked about how the Browns have blown it on 8 of their top 10 picks the last
Yeah, but
3
that
years?
doesn't mean you give them away.
Well, I don't look at that as giving away. You're giving it away for a guy who's proven that he's good and you think has the ability to be great.
I look
Gee, you
at it-
said they need 2 receivers.
Listen, I look
They
at
still
it.
do.
It's a wash if they make this trade.
It's not a wash because Judy's way better.
No.
Yeah, so you still need, but he's saying you got to add 2 more.
I need-
So you're at a wash if you make that trade in bodies.
That's how you-
So what 2 you adding now? And where are you going to
listen,
get
I'm
it?
gonna
So
give
you
him-
gave up on David Bell and Michael Woods?
Bro, let me
Listen, you
get-
know what?
No, but
The
if you-
Browns have given up on David Bell
No, they did not.
if they're looking to make this trade. If you think Bell's your guy, you're sitting tight. Why would you
always
make
have
a
a
trade?
chance. You always have a chance to get better.
Yeah, but if you
How
think
about
that,
it? So you're not gonna say
by
Jerry
the way,
Jeudy is
Jay,
not
you
better
know
than
what
David
you saw
Bell?
from Bell last year, is he the guy?
Listen,
No,
wait a
no.
minute, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. I don't.
Is
you're not-
he the
don't
guy?
do that. Don't do that because the thing is, the luxury the Browns have is they see him every day. I don't.
Right.
Yeah,
So
but
I
here's
don't
the thing,
know.
And if
I
they
don't
knew
know.
he was the guy, they
I
wouldn't
need to
even
go
be
to a
thinking about
practice
this.
Here's
year.
the
I
thing,
need
and
to
I
see
know
for
I'm
myself.
pretty sure G will agree with me. If you flip-flop Donovan Peoples, I'd rather keep Donovan Peoples.
I would too.
But if I had to flip Donovan Peoples-Jones in a trade for Jerry Jeudy, I don't need 2 receivers at that point. Now I need 1 because Jerry Jeudy is a big upgrade
Where
on
if you
DPJ.
get Judy and
Yeah,
you don't
dude.
have to give up DPJ, you could be set at that position.
Now you a contender.
Especially if you think Bell's going to fly.
Now you a contender if you get
I'm
him.
not ready to give up on the kid.
I'm not either, but I'm not ready to say he's going to flower. Because
Listen, he come out there and run some crispy routes. He would be nice. Like the
It's
kid
fine.
would be
you
nice.
know what? And if your aunt
I don't
you
think
can't say that no more.
By the way, I don't think trading for Jeudy means I definitely do not think trading for Jeudy means you're giving up on Bell, because Amari Cooper, as you guys said, might be gone after this year.
We got to get to Mikey. He's been red flagged.
Yeah, I got one thing to add. I got a super chat to read. We'll get back into this.
Okay,
it's going to lead
great.
us to the next. One differentiating factor between Jeudy and DPJ as players. Last season, Jeudy 392 yards after catch.
Yeah, he's very good after catch.
DPJ 191. They had only two.
Guys, there's no
fewer
comparison.
targets,
Yeah, but
so
it
it's just
also should
different
be
players.
pointed out that a lot of DPJ's balls are deeper down the field.
I'm just saying the
No, I
difference
know.
is what they do after
That's
the
the
catch.
thing with analytics, man. You can carve up any number and you can look at it and say, whoa, he's 6th in the league. But when numbers are so tricky. They're so tricky. If a guy is, if he's catching balls that are further downfield, it stands to reason that he's not going to have as many.
All right, but there's other stats you can point to, too. I mean,
Always numbers.
We're all using
They're
stats.
always numbers,
but
yeah.
the eye test tells you that Jerry Jeudy's way better.
It did, but my eyes told me last year that Donovan Peoples-Jones is ready. Like, he took a big step last year.
He did.
You
Go
can
ahead,
make
Mike.
the case he's going to take another big step this year because he's going to have a better quarterback throwing him the football for 65% of the games.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, it is something about his size that where worst case scenario you throw up a deep ball and it's a jump ball situation.
That's what I like about him.
He definitely is that guy.
And
I don't
I love
think
that. I'd
Jeudy
hate
is
to give
that
that
guy.
up.
But I don't
ahead,
know.
Mike.
All right, go ahead, super chat.
We got two super chats real quick. Halim Youssef says the Broncos have Sutton, Hamler, and Patrick on good contracts. Cooper will be gone after this year. We won't extend him. That's why we need Jeudy. And then problem solving with JD said, what about Tremaine Edmonds? He signed a massive contract with the Bears. He's off the table. We did ask the internet last night, though, what they would be willing to part ways with for Jerry Jeudy. And before we read you those answers, I want to let you know that anytime we ask the internet a question, it's brought to us by PCC Airfoil. So if you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoil is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
They're our partner through 2023.
For the
Wow,
rest of the year,
man.
shout out to
Signed a nice little
PCC.
extension with
Man.
PCC Airfoil, #1 in airfoil.
Yeah.
Everyone knows it. You go any state in the union and say who's #1 in airfoil, it's always PCC.
It is PCC.
Shout
And-
out to every one of our sponsors, by the way. I remember
Love 'em all.
once upon a time we used to go to these screens and there would be nothing back there but Cleveland Sports Show and a logo. Now, we got all of them here.
They're all lined
we
up.
appreciate all of you guys and your support, and we're just going to continue to do nothing but grow from here.
So we asked the internet, what would you be willing to part ways with for Jerry Jeudy? We saw a plethora of answers. Anthony, let's take the first tag board here. Steve, Dwight on Sports says 42 in a 4th round, period. Next, Justin Pendleton said a 6th round pick. Next,
And did you ask Justin
Good luck,
Pendleton
Justin.
if he's always been dumb, or is
David
this a recent
Seaboard,
thing?
he said give him 42.98 and Anthony Schwartz.
That guy's
Next,
embarrassing himself. Don't put Schwartz in the
Logan
trade.
McCrory says pick 98 and Harrison Bryant.
Stop reading these stupid tweets.
Next,
See,
People are idiots.
People got
Juwan
to.
Edwards says a 6th and 7th
seven
round.
round.
This when people ask for trades, you have to ask
Oh,
yourself.
my God.
If I was on the Broncos, would I take that?
You know what?
No,
You
you
know what?
wouldn't.
You
So
know-
stop saying
By the
that
way,
they
if the
would.
Browns
stop.
traded a 2nd round pick this year and a 3rd rounder next year, 99% of these knuckleheads would say, "Great trade, great trade."
No, everybody's
problem is-
everybody's on the Amari Cooper thing.
That's it.
We got Amari
Everybody's
for a 5th
looking at what
round.
we had to
It's
give up
like-
to get Amari Cooper. He was
No
basically
comparison.
about to be released.
No
There was
comparison.
So, I mean, we took on his salary, too,
I
by
saw
the
some
way.
of my former colleagues on the fan tweeting about this yesterday, and I responded to them, talked about how ridiculous the comparison was. There's no comparison
Yeah.
between Cooper and Jeudy. It's totally different
By the way,
situations.
we talked about this. I don't think Denver's going to trade him.
I don't think
just
they're gonna-
don't. If they do, I'm questioning what the hell they're doing.
Here's what I'll say to y'all, right? Everybody consistently is operating in this vacuum where everything. If you, because it seems like just to me, there's a lot of people in general that any name you bring up, they'll find something they don't like about it.
Until the Browns sign them,
Until
and
they
then
sign
love
them,
it.
then they love it.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. I'm gonna let y'all know something. There's a couple of places that where things happen, and your season is done. Right. The #1 thing is Deshaun Watson. He has to play all the games. Nothing can
Quarterback,
happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quarterback. Now the second thing which people don't understand is, what if Amari Cooper get hurt? You're dead.
You can overcome it, but it's a lot more difficult.
Oh no. So no, you really can't. Because you tried out DPJ and who? Schwartz, Bell, Woods,
Michael Woods.
You're throwing the Harrison Bryant with 2 tight ends now.
Njoku is the guy.
Njoku better get 1,500.
Yeah, but you know what? What you're not taking into account there is we have one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to put on a uniform. So he's got to make the guys better.
And he's going to.
That's what these guys that make $45 million a year do.
But he's also going against the greatest quarterback to ever put a jersey on. You got Mahomes. You going against young goats. You going against top of the food chain.
Well, that's only if you get to the very end.
So you might not even get to the end. That's my point.
Well, your quarterback better get you there.
But no, if you got a Ferrari, you can't put low test gas in it. If you got a Ferrari, you can't come around here and put no regular in the tank. You gotta have
the Browns is in the place now where they didn't already mortgage their future, so you might as well just go all in on it now because it ain't no looking back.
People is looking back and half-stepping right now. This is
people
where
they still trying to keep a safe card in their back pocket.
And people hold on to these draft picks for dear life. The Browns have screwed up so many draft picks, and yet we're scared to give up a freaking second-round pick.
The only draft picks they've really hit on that weren't first or like Myles Garrett.
That's it.
Was they got Nick Chubb.
They got Chubb.
And the only reason they got him was because the league had already decided
that we don't.
You don't need to build your team around a marquee running back. So go ahead and take him.
Yeah.
And Martin Emerson. And Emerson.
Martin Emerson, third round pick.
But I mean, it's not changing anyone's life. It's a nice piece. But the guys that change your lives are, we know who they are.
We are finally, we were supposed to have this conversation last year. So this is why this is all angst and people is all going crazy is because it got kicked down the road and Deshaun Watson only played 6 games.
That's a fact.
Now we here and now we having that conversation we should have had last year. So it's that 2:30, that sense of urgency, that the change in expectations is happening this year. So now you see people clamoring, hugging Donovan Peoples-Jones. Let me give you, for the people that know out there, Donovan Peoples-Jones has never been better than Jerry Jeudy in his life.
Sheesh.
No, I don't think anybody.
Nobody disagrees.
Wait a minute.
When you look at the numbers from last year, they weren't. It wasn't like one guy had 1,600 and the other guy had 600.
But Jay, one guy played more games.
The difference between
one guy played with a different team.
2021.
One guy had Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball for 11 games.
21. Donovan Peoples-Jones had more yards than Jeudy.
You listen.
And more touchdowns.
Let me ask you this.
Ouch.
Got you
let me ask you. Now listen.
21.
I just asked you, if you got somebody and you guard somebody, who you want to guard? Jerry Jeudy?
I'm checking DPJ.
Thank you.
It's not even
Let's get to the real. Let's get to the real.
So let's throw him in a second-round pick, too.
I would I'm not saying trade DPJ. I was saying that was if that was a scenario.
I'm glad you're not.
No. He just threw a scenario.
Yeah, it was a scenario.
But I'll say this. So if you think about it, go 11 personnel. Now, I'm just looking at the upside. 11 personnel, 1 tight end, 1 back, 3 receivers. You got DPJ, you got Jeudy, you got Cooper, you got Njoku.
Who all ran 4.4s.
If you keep DPJ.
If you know what kind of action you got off that? You got 2 supreme route runners, and you still can run the ball, and you got play action available, and Deshaun Watson can scramble. Do you know what that looks like? That's the reason I'm excited. Is because you
now imagine this. Now imagine it's David Bell instead of Jerry Jeudy. Changes the whole thing.
Cut that out. Y'all got listen. Shout out to the Big Ten on David Bell.
The Big Ten sucks. Let's be honest here. In basketball.
Oh,
we're not talking basketball. Hold the phone.
Listen, when you think about the Cleveland Browns offense last year? Let's say when Jacoby Brissett was in, what was wrong with it? What did you think was wrong?
No deep threat.
Well, our scheme looked pedestrian
at the end of the game, right? Like towards the second. Because at the beginning we were scoring touchdowns and moving the ball.
I think they were trying to shed their identity. Their best player is a running back.
Yes.
And that's like your best pitch in baseball being a knuckleball.
Okay.
Like.
So for 17 games last year, were we always frustrated with the offense?
Yes.
Even though they did put up points.
They did, yeah.
I don't think we were frustrated every week, but there were plenty of weeks.
There were stretches where we were very frustrated with the offense.
I think
look, the Bengals game, no.
I think we were much more frustrated.
They looked great that week.
We were much more frustrated when Deshaun Watson played because he played like crap.
The frustration is they looked as good as they did on Halloween against a Super Bowl caliber team, but couldn't bring that card to every poker game.
So only reason I'm bringing this up is I'm saying that really what handicapped us last year was the defense and you might a little bit of the special teams, you would say.
Yeah.
So far in this free agency, they've addressed the defense and special teams.
Yes.
Not really the big play guy on offense, and I get that we want that. But if the defense is significantly better and the special team is significantly better, wouldn't that equate to, and the offense stayed the same?
No, actually,
would that not
the
equate to them?
theory got significantly better too because now you have an all-world quarterback for 65%.
That's true.
Last year you had him for 35% of the game. This year you're going to have him presumably.
Assuming he gets back to his roots.
Well, yeah, you have to.
Right now,
if he doesn't, all of this conversation
as the roster stands, how many games do they win next year? Are they a playoff team?
I'd like to say they're a double-digit win team next year.
But not a playoff team. You don't think, as the roster stands today, they're not a playoff team?
No.
If Watson plays like he did in Houston.
No, in Houston.
No.
I think they're a lower tier playoff.
I'm just trying to see how.
Yeah, I'm with Bull.
I'm trying to see how important is this trade? Like, is it really that significant, or have they already did the work already?
Let's be honest. There's nothing the Browns can do between now and the start of the season that will put them ahead of the prediction pecking order.
Absolutely.
For Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Buffalo.
Nope, nothing.
I agree
The
with
highest they can get preseason, if you're being fair,
would be 4.
Is 4.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now there'll be fans who will be biased especially if they get a good receiver who will push them higher. But the reality, most people
I think anybody with a fair mind is going to look at the Browns roster no matter what they add and say that we're still behind Buffalo, Kansas City, and Cincinnati.
Right, now, that may not turn out to be true once the
minute.
season happens because things happen. But going into the season, the highest we realistically will predict them to be is 4. Right now, as is, I think they're right around 6, 7 in the AFC.
And you could call me Nostradamus. I said it all last year.
Yeah.
Go back and rewind the tape. When I said you genuinely punted on the season.
Yeah.
I said this is going to come back to roost. You didn't do anything this year, so now you got this. We can't do everything this year.
Wait a minute. What do you mean they didn't do anything?
You didn't sign no linebackers or receivers last year.
Oh, okay. You talking about last year?
You got Amari Cooper last year.
You got Amari Cooper, and when we talked about it, we said that's a nice move. But if you think you're going to go in there with Schwartz and Bell and these Woods, you need another one.
Agreed.
We did say that.
But he gave the caveat that Watson's going to play as well as he did in Houston. If he does that, the Browns should win 10 games.
So here's
as is.
I agree with you.
But here's
I think they should.
Here's you know this better than anybody. Coaches tell you either you getting worse or you getting better.
That's a fact.
What you think these other teams is out there? There's other teams that are better than they were last year. So the Browns can't just do, we even it up. No, you didn't, because those teams are going out there making moves.
All right, well, let's look at this right now. It's way early. We're a week into free agency. There's no draft, no injuries, nothing right now. We all agree Buffalo, whatever order you got them, Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati, top 3 teams in the AFC. Mm-hmm. We're all in agreement there, right? Yep. Okay, so let's think about the other 4.
I'll put Miami in there, too.
I don't think they belong with those 3
they're not in the top
teams.
3.
4.
They're the top 4.
Leave them out.
That's what I was talking 4.
I don't agree.
They made crazy moves.
Yeah.
The triumphant, though, is clear. And
the 3 is what it is. I was talking about it.
Let's talk about the teams that could realistically be in those other 4 playoff spots, right? Yeah. Let's start in the North.
Baltimore
with Lamar, not without Lamar.
I mean, they've got so many question marks right now.
I'm going to leave Baltimore out for now.
I am too, for now.
Because I don't know. Without Lamar, they ain't going to the playoffs.
Go ahead.
Pittsburgh, I know they're always a little better than you think, but they're not a playoff team to me. No. You agree?
With T.J. Watt in there, they might be.
Well, in Pittsburgh, they're saying the same thing about us right now.
Maybe.
I think we're in the same boat as Pittsburgh.
All right, but let's leave the Browns out for now. Let's see the other teams. All right, AFC South, I think Jacksonville's a playoff
coming.
team.
Yes.
Jacksonville's
a playoff team.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely a playoff team.
That's about it.
I don't think anybody else in the South is a playoff
Tennessee,
team.
Indy, no. I don't think there is
Houston,
either. I think Houston, no, for sure.
Okay, AFC East.
Out West, West is weird.
Well, let's do the East first. Let's do the East first.
The Patriots.
So the
Jets.
Patriots, I don't think are a playoff team.
If the A-Rod go to the Jets, they are.
I agree with that, but
the Jets
and he's probably going to go.
Yeah. The Jets and the Dolphins are
the Jets and Dolphins are in the mix. I don't think the Jets are a short thing, but because I'm not convinced that A-Rod's still got enough left in the tank, but we'll see. So that's 3.
I don't even say the Dolphins are, because with Tua there is a lot of question marks.
I'm with you.
That's why they going all in, because he is one concussion away from being retired.
I'm with you. I think Miami's a little overrated, but they're a team that's in the mix, certainly. So that's 3 teams. Now we go out west. Obviously, the Chargers are a team in the mix.
That's 4.
That's 4.
Denver, no.
Denver, no. Raiders, no.
Yeah.
I think. All right? So the Browns are battling. So that's 4 teams. The Jets, the Dolphins, the Chargers and the
Jaguars.
And the Jaguars.
Yeah.
So let's say the Jaguars win the South, we take them out.
Yeah.
So the Browns, in theory, are going to be battling with the Chargers, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Ravens, if they have Lamar,
and the Patriots.
And the Patriots. Now, I personally, thinking about that, would have the Browns as 7 right now as is. If I knew Watson was going to play at the Houston level, I'd have him 6 or 7.
I don't think. Listen, I think that the way I look at it is this. The Watson thing looked bad because they weren't used to playing in the game with Watson. Like this was literally they only have 6 games with Stefanski and Deshaun Watson. I think that right there puts you at a handicap.
Shouldn't we though by week 5 or 6 started to see signs of the old?
But that's the thing. It was plays that he kept plays alive, and they didn't do the scramble drill at all. The receivers looked like was clueless to what to do. The offensive line was holding people and whatnot. They never seen it before. So I think now that they're going to go through OTAs, they're going to practice this, and it's going to get better. But I don't think it's something like, do we need 1,000% a receiver to come in here? I think no. I think y'all kind of overreacted a little bit with it. Do they need a guy? They need a name in there, somebody that can stretch the field. It don't have to be Jerry Jeudy.
You excited about Marquise Goodwin? Did you play with him in San Francisco?
Oh, Marquise Goodwin is he's a burner. He was one of those guys.
He's old.
He is old, but he was one of those guys.
He's old, but he hasn't lost anything in his time.
When he
he's still just as fast.
Yeah, when I lined up on him, I turned around and started going the other way.
Yeah, a lot of guys did.
I knew what that was, but
he never had that breakout season that guys
he
thought
had
he could have.
1 year that he had 900-something yards.
Yeah. Last year I think he only had like 300 yards and like 4 touchdowns.
He was
a burner. He's an Olympian for a reason.
Yeah.
What you got, McNuggets?
I would say last thought for me, this is an arms race. The AFC is so much better than the NFC. If the Browns were in the NFC, I wouldn't really be worried about the second receiver that much.
Yeah,
but the AFC is so loaded.
But the audacity to sit here and say that all them teams we just mentioned, they smoked the Browns. Let's be clear.
They did.
We got 40 hung on us.
Cincinnati didn't.
We got 40 hung on us twice by the Patriots, and we got to do something. We don't need nobody.
We beat the brakes off Cincinnati, though, and they're the yardstick.
Well, 1-1.
What I'm saying,
I know, but this is like I always say, you've got a ceiling and a floor,
right?
And you want them to be really close to one another. And unfortunately, the Browns' ceiling and floor was like this. They could beat anybody. Proven against Cincinnati when they play their best game, they can also lose to anybody. The Falcons.
But I think that's the case for most teams.
But why did they lose those games?
I don't know,
G?
Bull.
Why did they lose to the Jets or the Dolphins or the Patriots?
Well, the Jets was a weird game.
Oh, let me count the ways.
No, I'm saying what was one of the key reasons?
Defense.
Thank you. And what did they address? The defense.
I love.
I'm not saying we don't need a wide receiver.
I love your passion.
But what I'm saying is, if we don't get Jerry Jeudy or a big name wide receiver,
forget saying big.
I'll be okay.
I don't want big. Anybody.
Okay, I take. We going in that camp. I'm with you. I'm cool with the second round pick being a wide receiver. I'm fine with that.
Here's the last part to this piece because we have to move on. If we need that guy just to be in the conversation, and clearly by this little exercise we do, is that guy going to put us over the top?
They better. If that's the case, then they might as well make sure he does.
Well, here's the point. When you put
Jerry Jeudy isn't putting us over the big three.
He might with a quarterback.
But he gets you closer, and in one game, he gives you a better chance.
I want to win it.
Well, there's nothing the Browns can do to guarantee that they're going to win it.
Not now.
If you're scared, go see a deacon. Let's get it going, McDonald's.
Yeah, what are we going to?
If BetJack had an over-under line on how many times you guys would ignore my cues for the toss here for the
15.
ad read, at 77, the over would have smashed. And if you're not already using BetJack, you're missing out, guys, because BetJack is Ohio's official sportsbook. Sports betting is live. Download the BetJack app today. so you can get ready to go in on all the action. BetJack, it's Ohio's sportsbook. I was super hungry this morning after my massage yesterday. I had a Built Bar. I used promo code LOCKDOWN15 at Built.com. It was phenomenal. I feel great.
Did you get your hamstrings together?
Yeah, how was your
experience?
We went way too long. We talked about it another day. We got too many good topics.
Just give us thumbs up or thumbs down.
It was good.
Did you enjoy it?
It was
or
really
not?
enjoyable. Yeah.
And did you
really
talk
enjoyable.
or not?
In little pieces. She asked why I was so stressed. I said, I got to do ad reads, and these guys won't shut up. So that actually did happen. But with Tyvis here, we got to talk special teams real quick.
Yes,
the
we
Browns
do.
have made a conscious effort to bring in some special teams aces. No one knows special teams on this panel like our boy Tyvis Powell. So, Tyvis, are we underrating the overall value of these three signings in Jordan Kanasic, Mike Ford, and Matthew Long? And how much better can this Brown special teams unit be with these three guys?
Listen, it is clear to me that the Cleveland Browns, I'm about 65% sure the Cleveland Browns watch this show. I'm going to tell you why.
Only 65%?
I'm about 65% because remember that when they signed Bubba Ventrone, and I got on here and I talked about the importance of special teams, and I said the one thing that when we look at the Cleveland Browns, name me the guy who's our core special teams guy.
Yeah.
And we said we don't have one. What did they just go do? They went out and addressed guys that's strictly core guys for special teams. I think
aren't two of the three guys they signed guys who were here?
who?
No, only
just one.
Kanasic is
Oh, just
back.
Kanasic.
Yeah,
One
just
of the
Kanasic.
three. Okay.
The Matthew and what's his name? Andrew and
Matthew,
Mike Ford?
Adams, and,
Mike Ford
Mike
is
Ford,
a
Matthew
special
Adams.
teams ace.
right,
isn't
and
he?
then the Matthew guy graded on the PFF like 90% in special teams last year. So they went out there and they got those guys, and you need guys that look at it like, okay, listen, I'm not going to the Hall of Fame for playing middle linebacker or cornerback. But I can make a killing, I can go to the Pro Bowl, and I really take special teams to very seriously. And that's what you needed on the Browns. And I think they went out there and they got those guys that's going to look at that and bring a new attitude to special teams. Think about it like this. As a special teams player, I can dictate the energy that this game is going to be. I can make a play that might save us the game, win the game, and they need guys like that. And I think those are what they are.
What's the rub-off on the other units when a big special teams
my
play is
goodness.
made?
So on that kickoff, I'm going to tell you, when I was with the LOB, they used to, so the first kickoff in Seattle, they always put Earl and Cam Chancellor on there.
First one of every game?
Yeah, everyone.
That's smart.
They always
I
was
like
on
that.
it. And they said that that's what they wanted to do. And the reason that they did that was because they wanted to show like the young guys how important special teams was. And it really didn't mean anything because I'm like, these guys is the safeties. Like, they're not about to make no plays. Well, Cam went down there and lit this dude up on the kickoff. And, I mean, the energy just was – everybody was turned up for the rest of the game, and they ended up being a landslide and win for Seattle in that game. So
Pete Carroll always emphasized special
and it
teams.
was like the great players that like Doug Baldwin was like, I want to be on pump block. All these guys really looked into special teams and was like, this is because they made their names off of special teams. Usually, if you're not a first or second round pick and you become like a top player, you've made your name off of special teams. So I think people with that mindset that's went through those races are trying to become a guy, look at special teams differently. And I think now that you got guys who's made a living off of special teams, they'll bring a new attitude and make these young guys buy into it. Like, you don't come out on special teams if you look at it like it's just a play. It's not a play off. It's the play that matters the most. That's the attitude that they need to have on
It's a
special
third of the
teams.
game.
Exactly.
And Tyvis, don't you think, I mean, are there some players who are like, I can't believe
Oh,
they
every
special
time.
teams,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And it's like we don't do.
So you don't want guys
we
like
don't
that.
want that guy out
No.
there. And
But I
that's-
think with Bubba Ventrone, that sets a different
Well,
tenor.
These are smart, under the radar high.
Well, he's
Yeah,
going to look at it
I
differently
agree.
because he played special teams with the
Yeah,
Browns, had a
that
great
was his
career.
key
That was
thing.
his thing. So
Yeah.
you're
Sure.
not about to come out there and dog special teams with him. He's not going to let you do that anyway.
It's a mindset, man.
The culture on special teams has completely changed,
he
and that's
probably,
what they need.
Don't you think he has handpicked a bunch of random dudes like this around the league? He's like, we got to sign this guy and that guy.
because
They don't cost any money.
That's his thing. Yeah,
They're all
special
signing for $1 million
Yeah,
or
special
whatever.
teams players don't make that unless you become like a Pro Bowler or something like that.
right.
Now you can ask for
I
something.
like it because you got two dudes, Ventrone and Schwartz. You know what they trying to set up? We're not soft like that, man. One of the knocks on the Cleveland Browns is, you know, this is a disappointing thing to me. When I go back to the 80s and I go look at some of them tapes, man, I get chills because it was a different type era. Cats was nasty. Cats was mean. They wasn't taking nothing from nobody. They was giving it out. You knew what you was coming to play when you had to come to Cleveland.
The Browns are the softest team in football.
They come
They've been.
They come in, and the epitome of the Browns is when when old boy for the what's his name? He got
We kicked him in the face in the
kicked
punt.
him in- yes,
Antonio
we already-
Brown.
it's- When Antonio Brown jumped up and karate kicked him,
And nobody did nothing.
He jumped up like it was Mortal Kombat 6.
Remember when the Steelers
and
killed?
they took that.
Remember when the
No
Steelers killed
retaliation.
Colt McCoy? Nobody did anything.
So you got to think about it. They knocked Colt McCoy out in that
Yeah,
game.
killed
They
him.
knocked Mohamed Massaquoi out in that game.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they knocked Josh Cribbs out in that game.
That's right.
And we walked back.
We didn't do nothing.
And guys, we're going back a decade, and it hasn't changed.
No, the Browns have been
hasn't changed.
the Browns have been one of the softest teams for a long time.
and I like-
that's gotta change.
that's the problem.
And,
Yeah.
and when they go get you some higher, we call special teams dudes goons. When you go get you 3 specialist goons, that means that's all they there for.
That's
They're there for smoke.
That is it.
I'm only here for smoke. We didn't even worry about no offensive stuff.
Not at all. Not
Yeah.
at all. We studying special teams. I'm with the special teams coach all day.
Yeah.
And we just talking
That's
about
it.
kickoff, kick return, punt,
That's
punt
it.
block. That's
and
it.
And it's so funny because often when we think about the importance of special teams, we really think about the kicker most often, right?
Yeah.
Because the field goals and whatever. And we have a young kicker who struggled at times, but I think we all think he's got a lot of potential.
And it's not. It's,
But
go
but
ahead.
we always ignore the important things that you talk about. You don't ignore it, but many of us and many fans, we are culpable of ignoring. But if you watch a game and you see a guy run it out of the end zone and you see a tackle made at the 13-yard line,
it's big.
That's a huge
Oh,
difference.
it's big. Everybody turned up off of that.
Right.
And the thing is, I'm not even going to say the Browns are bad on the return side because
No.
I think Jerome Ford is a great kick returner. He has some explosive kick returns. And we know
He did well there last year.
DPJ was good on punt returns. I think he even took one to the crib. And they're getting Joakim Grant back, who is really good on returns. So it's not the return side. It's always been punt and kickoff to me because you need somebody to go down. Like, what is this? They get to return the ball. Nobody's down there forcing fair catches. Nobody is. As soon as he catch it, boom, you running straight through his face.
Right.
You know what that do to a defense? Coming out there, you setting the tone for the whole defense when you come out there and make a huge play
That's
like
right.
that. And it just, I haven't seen it in Cleveland in quite some time. So it's good that they're trying
like
to
it.
address it.
Plus,
I
we
like
saw
it.
the embarrassing, onside kick situation last year.
Think about it. We had a whole ex-professional athlete trying to break down why you can't recover an onside kick on real TV in live time. They paid him to do that, man. Can you imagine that? That's so crazy, dog.
Should never happen. Not with the rules change. It should never happen.
This is like middle school. But here's what I'll give them credit. Somebody must have been listening somewhere because they are actually doing something. As for the offseason, I love what they did with Ventrone and what they do in the special teams. I like that. I love what you did with the defensive line. I love that too.
Yeah, they have addressed the glaring needs to me. The only thing that's left is obviously linebacker and wide receiver.
Finish your breakfast.
Which at some point is going to cost you, and I don't know, you got to restructure some deals for maybe.
Finish your food. Finish your food, dog.
Take care of business.
And by the way, they don't get points for addressing their glaring weaknesses.
That they
No,
caused.
My daughter doesn't know anything about football, and if she popped in on a game last year, she's like, I don't think that's supposed to happen like that.
You can't. That's like your kid. You giving your kid credit for cleaning their room when they were the one that destroyed it. This is just your. This is just.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum.
Right.
Now you got to make sure that the guys you brought in are the guys that were needed to fix the problem.
Yeah.
There it
And I
is.
do think on special teams, we're a lot closer to being able to say, yeah, I think they got that right.
I agree.
On defense, I think we all agree the moves made them better.
Yep.
Well, I think
And I think the
we gotta see how
coordinator
much
made them
better.
Yeah, I'm
better.
about to say the coordinators was the biggest
That was
thing.
to me,
I mean,
too.
because you're changing completely the culture.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily been the players. Like the players were, we had some big name players that just didn't do it. But did the coach get that out of them? Did
Yeah.
they allowed things. They allowed Jadeveon not to play on first and second down. They allowed
That's embarrassing.
these guys to go out there and let the Falcons run the ball 12 times. Like they allowed that to go out on the field, and there was no punishment for it. So now you got coaches in there that's gonna hold people accountable and responsible, and it's gonna be you're gonna look at it totally different because now if you can't do what I ask you to do, we will put you on the sideline and put somebody in there that at least if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna at least go out with somebody that cares.
Effort.
Jim Schwartz got to put bounties on guys' heads. Let's go.
Well, let's not go that far.
Jim, secretly do that. Secretly.
That happened once upon
it
a time.
quiet.
It didn't end well
Other teams are doing
for
it.
Greg Williams.
I think they've done some nice things. They're on track. Now just finish it off, bro. Come on.
You want to go ahead and do the reads now, get them out of the way?
Yeah, let's
we're
get
close enough to
now
hour number
the
2.
lunch
We can do
hour,
that.
the noon hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, which means it's time to remind you guys that Colleague Racing is the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. Big race upcoming this weekend somewhere in America. No idea where, but it's a big race.
So
And
big, you
Colleague
don't know where it
Racing
is.
is going to dominate. The Cavs dominated the Nets last night for the majority of the game. The Nets came back late, but there's something that was said on ESPN radio in Cleveland yesterday that got us in a stir, Twitter in a stir, that I want to address here. Brian Windhorst was on ESPN radio in Cleveland yesterday and said essentially the Cavs, or hinted at the Cavs maybe having a hint of buyer's remorse because the Donovan Mitchell trade took them from being okay to good, but it may not take them from okay to great. And to win a title, you obviously have to be great. And now with Mitchell, they don't have the assets to go out and acquire more talent to bring them from being good to being great, which is obviously a very thin line, but a very hard threshold to cross. So 72 games into the season now with 9 to go, 10 to go. Do you believe the Cavs have an ounce of buyer's remorse for the Donovan Mitchell
Clickbait.
trade?
No.
This is clickbait.
Did Windhorst actually say those words?
Yeah, I need to hear that. Like, cause I
I
ain't
can't
never
play
heard.
it, but yeah, he said his words exactly almost were.
He parsed it by saying they may have.
Yes.
Well, that's a big
And
difference.
that's why when I saw it, I didn't want to. It's
The
okay,
only
you
way
wanna
I would have
discuss it,
buyer's
that's fine, but
remorse
The
on
word "may"
That's a big difference.
is a guess. And by the way, if they do have buyer's remorse, I'm not sure that it would be because he didn't take them from good to elite. I think the biggest concern at this point is, can they keep him in Cleveland?
That's
the only thing. That is literally the only
That's
thing.
it.
That's
If he
it.
forces his way out after this year,
Then they absolutely have buyer's remorse. Yeah.
But if it's about them making them great but not great enough, this is the part of the job that I don't like it. If you're a guy who plays sports or you're into sports and you've been doing it and you're passionate about it, articles like this make you just question what the hell are you doing here? Because let's just be honest, man. This is what the game is about. It's about competition. And I understand that people don't compete at that level, but if you look, Jay's still throwing pitches because he want to compete out here. He like 59 or something.
Hey, 57. Hold on, dogs.
He gave it 2 years. Tyvus is challenging kids on the street. I bet you I'll lock you up. I like you. He out here doing listen, competition is why we all wake
notice
up
how
in the
G
morning.
left me out of that.
Bull,
I'm playing fantasy football, man. I'm killing people.
You're coaching.
Hey,
I'm
right?
coaching. Yeah, that's
you
right.
And plus, Bull thinks he's the greatest sports talk host in the world right now.
Yes, that's true.
See, look, competition.
That's true.
So I'm always trying to get better. If you gonna give me Donovan Mitchell, you in the game now.
That's right.
Why don't people want to be in the game, Tyvus?
It's like having buyer's remorse on Deshaun Watson.
You hear now.
You got to be in. You got to be in it to win it.
Right.
I don't understand. Like, it's what? So they're saying because we won't have a first round pick for 2 years.
No, well, that's part of it.
Okay, but the picks ain't gonna be nothing
So
anyways.
here's the question, Mark. So we always talk about going all in. That's the phrase that we keep using. All in,
Yeah.
all in, all in.
That's what you got to do if you want to win in this league.
Yeah, it is. So, but here's the problem. And I agree with that. If you're going to be on the field, you bet your goal every year should be we're going to win it all.
Yeah.
But there are consequences to be paid when you push all your chips to the middle of the table and you look at your hand and you got a 2, a 4, a 7, and not like you're like, oh hell, I don't have the all-in winning hand.
Okay, but if they hadn't made the trade, what do they have? They're worse right now.
In the NBA, there's really 3 groups of teams. There's the group of 6 to 8 teams every year that have a legitimate chance of winning it.
I don't know if it's 6 to 8 this year.
It is because the West is so wonky, and all you got to do is get there. Normally, I would say there's 4.
Yeah, right.
4 to 6, usually 4. But this year, when I looked at the West, I go, you know what? I got 5 teams that could win the West. And if you win the West, you're 4 games from winning it all. So you got to factor that in. But so then you've got a group of teams in the second tier, which isn't any fun to live in because you're good, but you know you're never going to get past a Giannis or these power teams. And then there's everybody else.
But Jay,
you really don't want to be in the everybody else.
But here's the thing about the Cavs that's different. They got 2 young players in Garland and Mobley that still have the ability to take an exponential
Especially
jump.
Mobley.
Especially Mobley. So if you're those other teams and you go all in and Donovan Mitchell goes to the Knicks, the Knicks are a team that can never get past that level. If Donovan Mitchell and you got Brunson and you got old boy Julius Randle, that's not gonna get you done. But if you got Mobley and Mobley is here that can take the step and become a defensive player of the year, 20, 22, 23, and 10, dominant, can pass the ball, jump shot. Now you got Donovan Mitchell, who's your closer, and you still got much more upside. My thing is, it's not the regular thing where you get a guy that's not that good and you just flame out.
What is this force your way out thing? I don't understand.
That's the
that.
NBA today.
I don't. Okay, when do we have to abide by that? Kyrie and KD tried it. Guess what happened? They ended up
they got traded.
Where
They ended up playing though.
Yeah, for half
where
a
are
season.
they
They
right
got
now?
Leonard
traded.
asked to be traded. Guess what
You know
happened?
why? Because
Go
the
sit on
player
that
made
bench
it
and play.
so punitive on the owner.
So-
Where are they now, though, Ty?
They all are traded now. But,
Okay, so in the
but my
end, they got
question-
what they
Now,
wanted.
I don't know that Donovan Mitchell is that kind of guy like Durant and Kyrie are, but
I don't
who
either.
knows?
But I don't either.
I think as long, to me, I don't know how long we're going to have Donovan Mitchell.
I don't either.
But
I'm
if I
starting to
get
question
one
it.
more, even if I get one more year with Donovan Mitchell next year, to me it was worth it.
Well, Milwaukee.
What is his
Milwaukee-
contract? How long is it?
He
got 3
more years left.
3.
Oh,
But Ty-
if he gets traded, it's not like we can't get no good pieces.
That's
back.
true.
No, we would, but now you're not starting over, but you're kind of back to where you were before you made the trade.
But the thing is, you still got Garland and Mobley, so you got a safety
And
blanket.
Allen.
Yeah, and Allen.
Yeah.
You still got a safety blanket.
Right.
You have to flip him for 2 good key role
I think the
players.
comment from Wendy was, first of all, he hedged it by May. Well,
Yeah, that's meaningless to
You know
me.
what? I'll go say this right now. The Browns may have buyer's remorse on Deshaun Watson. They may.
Amen.
And if you think right now that every single person in Berea is in lockstep, that this is going to work out the way it did on paper, the way they thought it would on paper, you're kidding yourself. Because they saw the same thing we saw last year. And there's got to be at least someone in that organization that's saying, oh, hell,
Well, here's the
he
thing.
ain't coming back the way he was.
Well, I look at it like this, man. I'd rather have that
hope not to
conversation.
say that.
I'd rather have that conversation
have some schlubby
than-
quarterback.
than that hell purgatory that we sat through 1 in 500. I'm never going back there. I'm never going back.
You know what, though? The problem is you might.
Well, listen. If you go back there because you tried,
Yeah.
I'll shake your hand
I'm
because
about to say,
you want to win.
It gave the city something to believe.
But anyway,
in. I think
just
that's what it all is about.
For the Cavs?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
The
Both.
interest
Well,
is higher than it would have been.
Exactly.
But
So now there might be a downside price to that in 3 years.
I'm never going to regret trading for a stud.
I'm never going to regret trying to get better.
I'm
and trying to
neither.
win.
But the post-mortem, like there's a lot of ways to get better. The post-mortem will write, I've always said this. Guys loved that trade, guys hated that trade. And I've always maintained this. History will tell us.
Which trade?
Both, but Deshaun.
Yeah.
Mostly Deshaun.
Yeah.
History will let us know.
I mean,
Did it
listen.
work? And by work, I don't mean lose the Super Bowl. I don't. See, I think we disagreed on that.
That's taking them to do
This
hype.
trade works if we win the Super Bowl.
I don't agree with that
I don't
because
agree with that
if you
either.
I
didn't
do.
make the trade, you had no chance to win a Super Bowl.
Well, you still lost the Super Bowl, just like you did in every
I
other
hear
year.
you,
Yeah, you
but
never
it
made it
doesn't-
in the
At
Super
least you
Bowl.
win. This city would go unbelievable.
It would.
Just
It
to
would.
be able
But
to say you
Yeah.
was
what
in
this
it.
city wants,
They
trust
wanna
me,
win
because
it.
I've seen it with
Oh,
the
they wanna
Indians.
win it for sure.
What this city wants is to have a parade.
Yeah.
And
Not an 0-16 parade.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because you had to make the trade. So I mean, you had to get a quarterback. You can't win with Baker Mayfield. We all know that now, I think. And that's that. So you had
But
to
you
go for
can't
it.
say you
Do the
can't win
Baker-
because they did win. I mean, it did happen once.
can't-
Do the Baker
You won
Bros-
one playoff game.
Yeah, but I mean, to say you
I'm
can't.
saying you can't win a Super Bowl.
You
with
can't.
Baker.
You can't really
Yeah,
say
kinda.
that because they did win
Well,
with them.
No,
so
I'm saying you can't win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield.
as far as I know, you can't win one with Deshaun Watson either because he hasn't done it.
I'm aware of that.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
saying.
So you're just gonna
with
place a bet.
With Watson, if I get Watson in Houston, I'll have a chance to win a Super Bowl. With Baker, I had no chance.
Presumably, although I saw him barely lose to the Kansas City Chiefs in a game where we had a bunch of things go against us.
What's the backup quarterback for Kansas City?
Let me ask you
I
a
don't even want to talk about Chad Henne.
Was it going
when
against,
his name is brought up, I
was
throw
it
up in
going
my mouth a
against,
little
was it
bit.
going against us when Patrick Mahomes didn't play in the second half? Because the game wouldn't have been close. Let's
No,
be
that was a
honest.
break. You got to take what you get. You got to take what you get.
Well, you just made an excuse and said, well, we got things against us and we barely lost. Barely lost means nothing. You lost. That's all.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. That's what I'm saying
Baker
with the
Mayfield
Deshaun
won
Watson
one
deal.
playoff game.
If you make the Super Bowl lost, you still lost.
There's
and
a
that
lot of
means nothing.
slapdicks that have won one playoff game. A lot of slapdicks.
But what I'm telling you is, to your
Tim
comment,
Tebow is the worst quarterback in the history of football.
He did win one.
He threw a
Worst quarterback
dime
ever
in
seen in my
overtime
life.
to win
Never.
that game.
to your point,
Yeah. Yes.
RP.
yes, you can't say you had to make that trade. You can't say that. You just can't.
Or I think
I just said it.
You can say that.
You had to.
You looked at it and said, well, this is a trade that will make us better. But nobody had their gun to the head
In
saying,
the NFL,
you got to make this trade.
In the NFL, if you don't have a legit quarterback,
Well,
you're not playing.
the
for real.
reason,
And in the NFL, it's entirely possible to have a legit quarterback
Well, I
and
mean,
not go.
reason-
And in the NFL, it's entirely possible to have a legit quarterback
well, I
and
mean,
not go.
the Browns
Of course.
have been, the
Entirely
Browns have
possible.
been searching for a quarterback since they came back.
And they've
You aren't
never
kidding.
had a good quarterback.
And that- so
hopefully they do
and
now.
we still haven't.
Have we ever actually traded like this to get
No,
one?
no, this was the
So
first.
it's okay. So it's insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different
Right.
results.
Yes.
So they
One
had
slappy
to
after
switch
the
it up some
although
way.
the Bengals didn't make that big trade. They
Because-
just got lucky in the draft. Their guy was sitting there when they happened to have the pick.
Well, listen, man, that's the way it worked.
It is the way it
They
works.
could have messed it up. They could have got. To me,
I don't know how you mess up Joe Burrow. Like who,
they could have messed that. The Chase thing could have happened.
I mean,
they could have messed
no,
the
that
Chase thing.
that was I give them
Had
credit
the
for.
Browns-
But the Joe Burrow thing was just lucky.
Had the Browns have drafted now, I wasn't saying this at the time, but had the Browns drafted Josh Allen or Lamar, then
See,
we wouldn't have been
I
in this
don't
situation.
I don't like people saying the Josh Allen thing because
don't either.
Josh Allen went to a place where they said, "Listen, what you doing don't fit what we doing." So instead of saying forget you, we gonna say forget what we doing. We gonna switch our whole offense
maybe
up
Joe-
what Baltimore
and do
did.
what
Maybe-
works for you.
maybe
Not
Joe
every
Burrow wouldn't have been as good
not
somewhere
every
else.
coach is ever gonna say
Maybe
that.
Joe Burrow wouldn't have been good somewhere else if he didn't have T. Higgins.
I agree.
I don't know.
See,
and
that's
then
the problem.
Jamar Chase.
See, Tyvus, that's the problem. What I learned when you talk about coaches is you got to be willing to do everything you can do in your power to make that guy good.
Well, they'll say this guy just can't get it
Mikey,
done.
you've got to be so annoyed that we've switched back to
Yo,
the Browns.
we just
again.
completely hijacked.
All right, let's move
Evan
it on.
I don't
Mobley.
think the viewers are because I mean, let's face it. If
just
what
get-
are they going to want to listen to?
just get in the
let's-
chat.
Well,
Let's
we've
see.
talked about
Let me-
it before.
let me
Mikey,
see
what do
they-
you got for us right now? You want to wake up over there?
What they
You're
talk
still-
about?
Yeah, no,
Let me
we,
see
what they
well,
say.
let's do 2 more minutes on the Cavs. They obviously almost blew a late lead, some execution down the stretch. A little
Yeah.
suspect against the Nets last night. We'll spend 5 more minutes on
cares?
that before we pass over to the World Baseball
Who
Classic.
cares if
Okay,
they almost blew it? This,
I thought
again
the Cavs
with these
game, yeah,
almost this
I'm
and
with him.
almost
Like
that.
the
Who
Cavs
cares?
game last night, to me, they won it in the second and third quarter.
Yeah.
They had a huge cushion. They took their foot off the gas, which is smart in some instances.
Yeah.
And then they had to find the accelerator again, and they did. But the bottom line to the win was they're locked into the 4. They're 3.5 from the 3. They're 3.5 from the 5. There's
Right.
10 games left. Too much has to happen. They're going to be the 4. They're going to have to probably play the Knicks in round 1. If they win that one, they're going to get
Milwaukee.
the Milwaukee Bucks.
And then that's
if they
when it
beat
starts.
Milwaukee, they're going to get Boston.
So,
If
so
you had to bet right now, your entire life savings,
Oh,
damn.
Whoa.
you have 2 options.
Whoa, that's a couple
2
dollars
options.
for
You
me.
ready? The Cavs lose to the Knicks
Oh, no.
in the first round, or the Cavs beat the Bucks in the second round.
Stop.
You can only bet one of those 2 things.
The Cavs beat
lose-
the Bucks
no,
in the
no, no,
first
no,
and
no,
the
no.
second round.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would too.
The Cavs beat the
I
Bucks
would
in the second round. And as a Giannis fan, I'm saying I
would
could
bet-
see
I
I could see the Cavs beating the Bucks.
I would bet the
They've had
Cavs lose
pretty
to
good
the
success
Knicks.
against
Because
the Bucks this year. And
Chris
the Celtics.
because Chris Middleton is not that guy anymore.
I would bet the
it's really
Cavs-
it's really pissing me off.
I would bet the Cavs lose
I would
to
bet
the
the
Knicks.
Cavs.
Wouldn't it be
lose
funny,
to the
guys,
Knicks.
if
I
they
would do
beat
that.
Milwaukee with Jimmy sitting courtside?
Yes.
I would
Well,
like that a great deal.
I mean, Jimmy is a
forgot
loser,
Jimmy
so
is
that might rub off on the Bucks.
But see, here's the thing. This is a great thing about sports, and I love it
Yeah.
because every man has an opportunity to go out there and prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Every man can just look. We call him whatever you want. Evan Mobley can come out there and just wake up and be like, "Oh, listen, I'm better than everybody." That's how Giannis
Giannis
did
could
it.
get hurt.
Giannis did that.
If Giannis gets hurt,
He
guess
just,
what?
They was like, we can't stop him no more. We just can't. And then when you win, you become that dude. Sometimes somebody becomes that dude.
Yeah,
and
to be the man, you
Yeah.
have to
beat the man.
That's
and,
right.
And you just be like, you got to shake his hand like, I don't know, we couldn't stop him. He just became that dude.
And then, you know what? If they were to find a way to somehow, some way, get past Milwaukee, I know all the games went to overtime. At least it seems they did. They're 3-1 against the Celtics this year.
I don't think the regular season.
Now that's fool's gold.
I don't think the regular season is meaningful at all, in my opinion. However, if they did beat Milwaukee, there's no reason they couldn't win the whole thing.
There's a little carryover, wouldn't you say?
I don't think so.
Like,
my opinion. I don't know, but
I think there's a little carryover.
But why? It's a totally
just because
different...
if nothing else, it gives you confidence that you know that we played the Celtics 4 times this year.
The only team I don't want the Cavs to play in the playoffs right now is the 76ers, and I just
they won't have to.
Good.
Unless they get past Boston.
Not beat them, boy.
Well, they'd only play them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
That's it. And
that would be a good problem to worry about.
I would love to have that problem, but they'd have to beat Boston to get there, and I don't think anybody's beating Boston. I think Boston's winning the title.
I think Boston is going to they're exalting all their energy.
Right now?
Yeah.
I still think they're winning the title.
I think it's a totally different
The best
season.
part about the Cavs over any other season is they now have one of those playoff guys, right? In the playoffs, don't nobody miss. Nobody miss. If you watch the games, people won't be hitting jumpers.
You mean like that guy to watch?
Yeah, that guy to watch.
Yeah.
They got a dude that if he get hot in the series, you could lose.
Donovan Mitchell
is that. If he get hot, he can run off 30, 45, 41,
His
36.
bubble playoffs versus the Nuggets was one of the single greatest playoff series.
It was
all
crazy.
Donovan Mitchell
crazy.
He need one of them young guys to go.
One.
Well, you know
Just
what?
Roll one.
He's got
Either
a lot more help
Darius
here
or
than he did
Evan
in
to
Utah.
come with me.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's
That
it.
is it. They'll win it.
All right, what you're
stuff.
saying is we've got a chance.
Please, the
Well,
playoffs
15,
cannot
which
get here
means
soon
It's time
enough.
to remind the world that Kaulig Racing is the official NASCAR sponsor of Northeast Ohio. Kaulig Racing, we love you guys.
And they have a big race
this
somewhere in
weekend.
the U.S. this weekend.
Big race this weekend.
World
wanna say
Baseball
it's in
Classic.
Texas, I feel like.
I don't
Yeah.
think the World Baseball Classic in its, 15 years of existence, however long it's been around, maybe 20. I don't think it's, I think this is the crescendo for it so far.
No doubt.
Last night in the championship game, it was Japan versus the United States. And if you were to figure the odds of it ending the way it ended, it was less than 0.1% chance that it would have ended like this. Shohei Ohtani, the guy I think is the best baseball player of all time, maybe that's a different discussion, facing Mike Trout, who is his major league teammate with the Angels, with a full count and 2 outs and the game in the balance.
And they'd never faced each other
They
before.
had never faced each other before.
Yeah.
So really what you had there was the perfect Hollywood ending. Yeah. I mean, I think the perfect Hollywood ending would have been there would have been a man on and Trout would have walked it off. Or that wouldn't have even been a walk-off. That would have been the top of the ninth. But I don't know how you could have scripted a more dramatic, more compelling finish. The game itself was not a great game, I didn't think at all.
But it was tense the last couple of innings when Schwarber hits the home run in the 8th inning.
Yes, and that
was just
answered
a
the question.
bomb.
Everybody had a question. Well, why would Yu Darvish not start?
Yeah.
They went with a bullpen game, which was masterful. But Yu Darvish came in and you found out why he didn't start. The reason he didn't start is, and they showed this graphic coming into the top of the 8th inning, there were 4 guys in the lineup that had great success in the major leagues against Yu Darvish. And obviously, the Japanese manager knew that, and so he decided he would hold him for the 8th and Ohtani for the 9th. But Ohtani throws 4 straight fastballs in triple digits and then gets him with the slider.
That was one of the nastiest pitches I've ever seen.
That made you was happy.
And I'm texting with one of my teammates who's also a pitcher, and we're going through the pitch sequence, and I called every single pitch right, including the slider. I knew he was setting him up for the slider.
That ball just was in the strike zone, in the strike zone, boom.
Yes, because
is that in your, you throw that?
And here's why.
You know how to throw a slider?
I don't want Trout to beat me. I don't want to come into Trout's strength.
Okay.
I'm so confident in my 3rd best pitch that I know what he's looking for. He had sawdust coming out of the bottom of that bat. He was geared up fastball.
I would have been. He just got you twice with it.
He started his swing so early, and Trout can stay back and still get the ball. But the slider was a great slider. You're right. It was a perfect slider.
Perfect pitch. One of the best pitches I've ever seen.
Am I overstating it? Ohtani's the best player ever.
I think I
skill
think
set.
he will be.
Not resume.
I feel like he's got to do it longer.
Okay.
I mean, he hasn't played enough. What he's done the last 2 seasons in particular
Unreal.
is just absurd. He's a top 10 pitcher and a top 10 hitter.
Yeah, that's
And he
ridiculous.
hadn't closed a game since I think 16. They said.
Yeah,
And
right.
what's even more mind blowing, what he did is Little League. He's still doing Little League. You know,
Yeah.
in Little League, the best player on every team
plays
is the
shortstop.
pitcher, the shortstop,
Right.
and he's your best hitter.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
And he catches it for the other.
He's doing that in the major leagues.
And he's a good athlete too. Like
He's
he
a
can
great
run.
athlete. You saw him almost beat out that play at first
Yeah.
base.
Actually, he was safe, wasn't he? Or did they call him out?
No,
I
you know
can't
what?
remember.
I think they did.
It was so close.
I
It
thought
was
they
hard
missed
to tell.
that. You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
On review, they still called him out, but the ball was in the web.
It was close. I think it was too close to overturn.
The ball doesn't have to be touching the glove. It can break the plane of the glove, and he's out. And I thought
But
it
that's
did.
hard to tell
But
for
they call,
sure.
that
Yeah.
angle they didn't have.
Yeah.
The USA lost because of Mookie Betts. He hit the double.
No,
play.
you know what?
They should have ran with Bobby Witt. I agree.
I was as soon as Witt came into the game, I said he's going first pitch. He has to.
Why do you put him in there if
I
you're
don't
not
know.
going to steal?
I think because he can score on balls from
sure,
second that
but
someone else can't.
But you got to
But
be
you're right.
aggressive in that situation.
I mean, I'm saying this is simple. If I'm Mark DeRosa,
Yeah.
I'm going. You know, we're talking about going all in,
Yeah.
and I'd rather have loved and lost than not to have loved at all. I'd rather to have stolen and got caught stealing. You still have one of the greatest hitters in the planet at the plate
Yeah.
with a chance to tie it.
right. It's not like they're going to
I
intentionally
just
walk
was
him.
stunned that he didn't run him.
crazy.
Yeah, that's too bad. But it was. I actually thought it was a fun game. It was I was excited when Schwarber hit the home run, obviously, because he
It's the first time I've ever cheered
just
a home run from
destroyed
him.
that pitch.
By the way, it's a travesty. I don't think very highly of the baseball writers of America. If you're not voting for Ohtani every year for MVP, you're a joke.
Judge just had such a
about to
remarkable
say
season,
Judge.
but
I listen. You can't even equate. If
Yeah.
I'm a top 10 pitcher and y'all tell me every day, G. Bush is about pitching. G. Bush is pitching.
They do say that?
And then I see this dude, and I'm like, well,
I'm
the
with
best
G.
pitcher, and he's still hitting. I don't care if Judge better hit 900 home runs.
I agree. I agree. I
There's
think-
no way he's better
And
than
you know
him.
what? You heard in the postgame show, I don't know if you guys kept it on, but
Oh, come
He hit
on.
34 home runs last year.
Come on.
yeah.
and had a 220 ERA.
Oh, yeah.
And over 200 strikeouts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it's-
it's done.
He's-
And he hits for good average.
You know what? A-Rod said something in the postgame show, and
I didn't know he
Ortiz
hit that many home
co-signed it.
runs.
First of all, to watch Ortiz and A-Rod fawn over this guy the way they did, they don't do that. They have been the best in their sport.
It's crazy.
They were fawning over him like they were schoolgirls. And at one point, I think it was A-Rod said, he may be the fastest guy in the game, which I think is a stretch, but he's among the guy is
Top 10.
lights out fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Like easily in the top 10 players.
This guy-
Easily.
He's
So
a
what are we
unicorn.
talking about?
He is the
What
he's
is the debate?
He's one of the top 10 hitters in the game. He's one of the top 10
Oh, this
pitchers.
And he's not even like
more than anything, he's one of one.
And he's
stupid.
not even one-dimensional. Like
No.
as a pitcher, he strikes out everybody, but he's got good command. As a hitter, he hits for power. He can move. He hits for a good average. Like there's nothing he can't do.
No, I know.
I'm sure he could play the field perfectly fine. They just don't do it. which
Right,
is
but
smart.
if he was to play the field, he'd probably win a gold
be
glove.
good at it.
I'm
And, like,
telling you, I think he's the greatest baseball player ever to put
I
on a
wonder
uniform.
if there were. I bet. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe it's unfair to say. I wonder if there have been along the way some American players that could have done it, but they were
But
never
they-
given
You
the
know what?
chance.
played him.
I'd be willing to bet yes.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, this is what's the most impressive thing to me about Ohtani. You have a plus pitch. Most guys have. Well, you got to have one plus pitch
Sure.
to be a big league pitcher.
What's yours?
Most guys, mine's my cutter.
Okay.
Most guys have two. This guy has three. And just to show you that he has 3+ pitches, he went to his third best pitch on the biggest pitch of his career last night and won.
Yeah.
Against one of the best hitters we've ever seen.
Well, and the reason guys like A-Rod and Ortiz are gushing is because they know he's as good a hitter as they are. Right. And yet he's a great pitcher.
That's even blasphemous. It's blasphemous.
It's absurd.
Like,
It is.
It's blasphemous to hear
absurd.
somebody say he's just as good a hitter as they are. If you said that today just for a hitter,
Yeah.
that's the biggest praise you can get.
right. Oh, and now he's a Cy Young caliber pitcher.
Assuming he
Good night.
stays healthy,
It's over.
he could have gone to the Hall of Fame probably as just a hitter or just a pitcher.
That's funny.
I agree with that.
You know?
And you
Thank
know
you,
what?
McNuggets.
Everybody keeps making the comparison Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a two-way player for 2 years.
2 years, and then he was just a hitter.
And then he was strictly a hitter. And on Babe Ruth, and I'm not rolling on the guy, but he did it against white guys. Period.
There was no Latin players.
From St. Louis, who in the offseason went home and worked at the drugstore.
There was no Latin players. There were no black players.
Latin players. There were no black players. There were no Asian players.
Yeah.
The training that exists today.
Yeah, right.
If you threw 90 plus back then, you were a freak of nature.
Yeah.
If you throw 90 today, you probably don't have a job in a starting rotation.
There's like 5.
High school.
You're a good high school pitcher.
89, 91.
Yeah,
I mean, Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs is a freak because he's like the only starter that doesn't throw 90.
He is the only guy.
Yeah, like there's like 3 other guys, I think.
Everybody else is low to mid-90s
Now listen, Babe Ruth at his time was amazing. He stood out from the other guys.
He dominated his competition.
He dominated his
Bill
competition.
Russell, like we always say, Bill Russell.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Bill Russell
I think it's even
dominated.
worse.
I do too. I do too because he was only doing it against white guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just it is what it is.
And all these other things.
And
I mean,
to watch Ohtani too, the thing that I was really looking at, and with his first pitch was a ball. And I thought,
yeah,
maybe the moment he hasn't seen a big moment.
Well,
you see what I see.
Well, Smoltz,
you thought he was going to choke.
Smoltz doesn't let the game breathe, unfortunately, in my opinion.
I love John Smoltz.
He's very good, but I don't think he lets it breathe.
Okay, that's fair.
It seems like he's got a personal beef with you, Darvish. He's always crapping on Darvish. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But anyway, but Smoltz was right. He said, like, hey, I think he may be a little amped because Smoltz is a unique player in that he's one of the few players in baseball history that was a great starter and a great closer.
Yes, and did it on a huge stage.
Dennis Eckersley, very good starter, excellent closer.
Yeah, but Smoltz was a Cy Young starter.
For both, yeah.
And also was the best reliever in the game.
Right.
Eckersley had moments. He pitched a no-hitter in Cleveland.
He was a good starter.
And he had 20 wins in Boston, but he wasn't John Smoltz caliber.
No. He was better as a closer than Smoltz.
I agree.
He did it longer, but still, that's rare. So he knows what it's like to be a starter and a closer, and he did make a great point. And at first, it did look like he was a little overamped.
I thought when he came in, I was just reading his body language, and I thought, man, you can tell he knows he's in a really, really big moment that he hasn't seen before.
Yeah.
And then when he missed, and typically guys, when they're overamped, they'll throw that fastball either 58 feet or they'll throw it 70 feet.
Yeah.
And when he missed, I thought, the one thing you don't want is to bring in your closer and have him struggle with command.
Right, no options
But
there.
then he came right back, and I'm like, wow, just like that, he settled down, he gathered himself.
I thought the home plate umpire was great. I thought he was on top, especially late in the game.
I didn't like the first base umpire. I thought the first base umpire.
No, I'm talking about the home plate umpire
the home plate umpire, great job with the zone.
Especially, and kudos to Jeff McNeil's got a great eye.
Did you see how close that ball
3-2
was?
pitch from Ohtani? I mean, how many players could take that pitch?
It's an incredible take.
Especially, that's right at the knees, basically.
Unless he made up, I'm not swinging at this regardless.
He might have
done that too.
Well, you know what?
On a full count, I'm like, I'm going to just play the odds.
Well, it's funny you say that because I thought the game was won in the fourth inning. In the fourth inning, really, Team USA had guys on second in 4 different innings.
Yeah.
And they were 0 for 7 with guys in scoring position. That you're going to lose when you do that. But what I thought was fascinating was the pitcher got Trout to chase on a ball in the dirt.
Yeah.
That Trout had decided ahead of time, I'm going to see a fastball and I'm swinging.
Yep.
And he had already committed because
he
had to. And when it was in the dirt, he just flailed away. And the next hitter was a Goldschmidt that hit after him.
Yeah.
Goldschmidt then played reverse checkers instead of playing chess. In the same spot with a 2-strike count, he thought he was going to try to get him to chase like he did Trout. And he threw a perfect fastball, waist high, and he wasn't looking for it, and he watched it for strike 3. And that's where I thought the game was won.
No doubt they missed opportunities early. Really quick, before Mike gives his read and we move on to this other angle of Ohtani, it's so much better than like the basketball in the Olympics because America can't lose in that. Like, Japan is really good. Mexico's really good. Puerto Rico's really good. Cuba's really good. Dominican is really good.
Yeah.
South Korea's getting better. And so even some of these fringe countries, they're starting to care more about baseball.
Czech Republic, which previous to last night thought baseball was cricket, this year.
Right. England
Their
looked good.
TV ratings were through the roof in Czech Republic.
Canada's got a decent team.
Canada. Mexico, with Rosarena's play,
he's awesome.
I think everybody in Mexico's abuzz right now about baseball, which is good to see.
100%, it's growing.
So Mark DeRosa said it best in the post-game interview. He said, Baseball won tonight.
It was a great
Baseball
a
won.
couple of weeks. This was the best tournament. And anybody that's hating on it because of 2 injuries, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's 65 guys that have gotten injured in spring training.
You know it's big time when you come in and say, you know how it was a big day? Because you two watched it.
Tyvus sent a video of him watching
right.
the last strike.
I watch baseball. That's
He
the
likes baseball,
the funny thing.
But
Like,
that's the thing, though. There's more people.
You were
watching.
captivated like it was
I
a
was
Guardians
locked in.
postseason
Right.
game.
I wish y'all could see the video. I was locked.
Only
I
We
was
would show you the
committed.
video, but we can't.
Only negatives. Only
Tyvus was
negatives.
naked
We
for
got to
the
get.
record. That's why we can't show
the,
it.
the best American pitchers got to pitch. We got to get some of those guys in there.
Yeah, you know what I'm wondering, Bull?
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah.
There was the participation, let's face it, if America really had its best players like Japan does,
Well, they did it for hitters.
they did, but their pitchers,
Not the pitchers.
The pitchers bowed out.
If you had Scherzer,
I want to see Shane
Verlander-
Bieber. I want to see Shane Bieber.
If you had
Why ain't they throwing?
Well, because they're big investments. And if you're Bieber and you know you got a contract coming up,
Ohtani
the
did.
last thing you want to do is throw an
And Darvish.
unnecessary pitch.
but Ohtani has the biggest contract coming up, and
I know.
he pitched.
That's why I love the guy so
what
much.
if they had a rotation of Bieber, Cole, Verlander, and Scherzer?
We win,
I
and
mean,
it's not even close.
well, I think it's close
Well,
because
yeah.
I think these other teams are good, but we would have been obviously even a bigger
I
fan.
mean, you saw the pitchers that we trotted out there last
yeah, they
night.
were just
They
okay
were
guys.
okay guys.
Yeah.
They're American.
Yeah.
There were players, first of all, that teams didn't mind if they went and played. That's the other thing. A lot of these teams are, and I wonder if this is going to change it, because you talk about this. You're talking about the good of the global game, and we need the best players playing.
Yeah.
Risk of injury be damned. If it happens, it could happen in a spring
It
training
can-
game.
Exactly.
You're
that's
not
the
playing
point.
them. You're
You
still playing
can't
them in spring training.
We're not playing in the middle of the season. That's stupid. They're
Right.
stopping the.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine is like, "What about November? Guys are worn out in November.
No,
you can't throw those pitchers in
Players
November."
would never play it in November.
Last thing, real quick, the championship game. It's got to be on Real Fox. And
Yeah,
not
I was
FS1.
bummed about that.
Come on now,
FS1.
Some people don't have FS1.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry
It's bad.
to Team USA.
Yeah.
I jinxed us. I said Otani's gonna choke.
There's
him.
no such thing as
did.
jinxes, but
It's the worst.
He
thing
texted
it was
the-
the worst thing I said.
He texted the group,
He walked the
and
hill, and
you're the
I
one that
said what I
replied. You
said.
just
I
jinxed
know.
it.
I don't really believe in jinxes, but go ahead.
Yellow card.
Go ahead, Mikey.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yep,
need
we
another
got a yellow
massage
card.
after you guys the stop signs don't exist in today's
Yeah.
show. But it's okay because stop signs also don't exist in NASCAR, and Kaulig Racing is the official sponsor of the Ultimate Human Sports Show and NASCAR's official, Northeast Ohio's official NASCAR team. Let's talk about Ohtani, though, and the Guardians. This was thrown around. Shout out Eddie for the suggestion. Great topic. Should the Guardians go all in for half a year of Ohtani to win the title?
Now,
Yes.
we know they won't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
They
start
won't.
with
Yes,
that.
they won't.
We know they won't. And if you ask me this question about almost any player like this that the Guardians would never sign, I would say no, probably for almost every other player. This is so unique, and the Guardians have so much depth and talent that, as crazy as it is, and probably doesn't make sense in the long run, I would do it, even though obviously there's nothing you could do to guarantee a World Series. Nothing.
No.
But with Ohtani, I believe the Guardians are right there with anybody in baseball because you've now added, he would be your, co-best pitcher and your co-best hitter.
Absolutely. All in one guy.
At worst, he's your second best pitcher, second best hitter.
So the reason you do this move is
wow,
because,
even you're in on this.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
And if you would have asked me this move versus Watson and Mitchell and rank them
Yeah.
in the order that I would do them,
Okay.
the order I would do them is Ohtani first,
That's surprising.
Mitchell second, Watson third.
Wow, I'm
Now,
surprised.
I know it's surprising
Yeah.
because in basketball, that big piece is one of 5 that
Right.
can make a difference at any one time.
And the quarterback makes a
In
bigger
football,
difference.
You're one of 22
Yeah.
that can make that difference. But the big one, obviously, in quarterback counts
Yeah.
for 5.
Right.
But in baseball, normally, if you make a move for that blue chip hitter or pitcher,
Yeah.
you're one of 9. But in Ohtani's case, because he is the blue chip hitter and the blue chip pitcher all in one, and he proved to you that in the same game, he can take his regular spot in the rotation, run out to the bullpen, get loose, come in and pitch the ninth? Guys, that's never been seen before in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
Nope.
I mean, not that I know of.
Can you imagine a rotation in the playoffs of him, Bieber, and McKenzie?
And by the way,
I'm winning a World
Now,
Series.
sorry, folks. There's no way the Guardians are ever doing this. I don't think the Angels would trade him anyway.
But think about it like this.
You know what? They're crazy if they don't.
It's
Oh, yeah,
even-
but I doubt they will. But
If they can't, I think they're going to spend the first couple of months working on a long-term deal.
Right.
Where they have exclusivity.
and if they're surprisingly in the playoff hunt, they're not going to trade him.
No.
the
Well,
Guardi-
by the way, wasn't it even more stunning watching Trout and Ohtani on this stage? Like, what the hell's wrong with the Angels?
Yes.
Well, the rest of the team sucks.
I know, but what the hell's wrong with
I
that?
know.
How could you not?
You know, you talk about going all in, and you can't put regular gasoline in a Ferrari.
What is this?
How can they not win?
What is his projections for his deal on Tiny?
He'll break the bank. It'll be the biggest
Per
one ever.
year, it'll definitely be the
It'll
biggest.
be I think long term it
Probably
will. I think
long term.
I think in years, in total money and money per year.
think the
it will
most
be-
year-
So
I don't
I
think
do
it'll-
think the most years
What
because
did,
he's
what
young.
did, what did Aaron Judge get?
$750 million.
No, not that much.
What you mean?
He
Somebody
won't
got
get that much.
500.
I want to say, didn't Aaron Judge get 500?
No.
Well, listen, I mean, it's nuts, and I can't remember who said it, but someone said $1 billion.
I think I said
Now, it's
that.
not going to be $1 billion. I'll tell you that right now.
750.
But
Easy.
I don't think he's going to get that much, but I could be crazy.
how old is he, Bull?
He is 28.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the weird thing about Japan is
600.
they have this deal where you have to play 7 years in Japan before you can leave.
I thought NCAA was bad.
Yeah, I mean,
They got
He turns 29 this summer. So I don't think he's going to get the longest contract in terms of amount of years.
well, I mean, in total,
3 years.
right now the standard's 12 years, right? No one. I think didn't Bryce Harper sign 12 years?
I think 13.
Oh, did someone get
Yeah.
13?
think
I don't
Machado
think
got
he's going to.
13.
Maybe
What
he
was
will
the
get 12-year
What
deal.
was
He
Bryce
might.
Harper's dollar amount?
He about to get.
Oh, he's getting way more than Bryce Harper got.
I want to know who.
I think he's going to get the most ever.
I think he's going to get like $50 million a year.
But here's actually why it makes sense for the Guardians.
You're right, though.
If you look at the Guardians and
Yeah.
you look at what they got, the Guardians have a
Aaron
problem
Judge
that.
signed 9 years, $360 million.
Oh yeah, he got 500 million.
Oh, Tatis was 14. And I wouldn't have done that. I said at the time I would.
So the Guardians got all these prospects. They got so many prospects that they're talking about getting rid of a solid to very good shortstop to rotate to get to another prospect that they think is good.
Yeah, we're deep.
You can't even sign all these people. There's no position to play them.
Verlander make $43 million.
You could give
That's a 1 year, 2 year deal.
give 3 to 4 of your best prospects and still have 4 great prospects.
Bull, what do
in
you
your-
think
in
it would
cover.
take? Would it take like 4
Oh my
prospects
God.
and somebody else?
I can't even imagine
I
what
can't
you have
either.
to give up. So, I mean, if you're going to make this kind of trade, you'd have to be willing to give up your 3 best
600
prospects.
At least.
Just to start.
Just to start. And I think it
So-
would still take somebody else, like maybe a Rosario or maybe,
So give me a
Maybe a
package.
Josh Naylor because
A
you don't
Josh
need
Naylor, yeah.
Naylor for the
They
year.
can
Right.
Off the top of your head,
They
Bull,
can have
I
the whole
need-
team but Jose.
Make us a package.
I would
today.
say the Guardians have 3 high-level pitching prospects.
Okay. They
do.
Espino,
Now,
Bibby.
one of them, Espino,
Espino's
though,
been
I'm
hurt.
gonna knock out of that.
You got Bibby, and then I can't think of
By
the
the way,
third
I
guy's
saw
name.
Bibby throw a little bit
Bibby. I
in
keep
spring
calling
training.
Bibby,
He's
but-
not a big guy.
Who's the other guy? I can't think
Gavin
of
Williams.
Yeah,
Gavin
Williams.
Okay.
Williams.
You'd have to trade Bibby,
wow.
Gavin Williams, and George Valera to start. That's your start. Then you're either and maybe Gabriel Arias. So you're like those 4 guys.
Those are the 4.
I would think those are
gems
those
in
are
the
4 of your top
organization.
6 prospects, right?
Yeah, they are.
And you throw in a Josh Naylor and maybe, a back end pitcher like Plesac or Savali.
Yeah, and you're only getting them for.
You get him for 1 year.
That's a
it's
lot.
so crazy.
I do it.
As crazy as the Guardians can always get more pitchers.
See, do you
I would
think that
do
the
it.
Angels would trade him before the season?
I doubt it.
I don't either. I
No.
think it's a July move.
Yes.
I think it would be
Now
a
maybe
July
I'm
move.
crazy, and I don't think the Guardians would ever do this because they're
What
not
if the
going to.
Guardians, though, were like 15 games up, had the second best record in the American League?
Let me tell you this.
Then you're nuts if you don't.
I don't care what. Honestly, I
Jay.
don't care what they give up.
Everybody
Jay,
in the
I don't
They
chat.
can give up all the prospects
I'm with
in the
you
world.
on this one.
Everybody
Jay.
in the chat said
Jay.
deal.
They would, what would that look like for attendance? I guarantee you.
First of all, I'm feeling the 49.
Now they may want.
Ohtani will bring. I'm gonna tell you like this.
Yeah,
I go.
I'm going.
I'm going.
And you ain't gonna see a lot of me here.
that's true.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Attendance would get a
I'm
boost.
going.
I would pay that $49 a month
Me and Tyvus
for
be there with
standing
backwards
room,
hats,
and I'll
listening
be
to
there
hip-hop
every game.
Like, come on, what are you talking about? Like, I'm like, this dude is nice. You can make that up in attendance. I'm telling you, you get a whole different demographic up in there. A whole nother.
They get that $50 out of me, and I
Especially when he
live in
pitching.
Columbus, and I'll be
Can
there.
you see a Yankees game? Him pitching?
And hitting.
Stop. Wait, listen, we'd have to come from the concourse
The
of
Guardians
Progressive
should,
Field.
they should
doing all-
seriously consider.
That'd be crazy. And they're the only team that could get him because they got that many prospects.
Well, we're one of the
Well, there's a
most
couple
well-
of others,
yeah, there
but
are
not
some
many.
other
Could
teams,
you
but
imagine
we're
that
one of the
flag?
most well-positioned teams. You know what I fear is the Dodgers. The Dodgers have some prospects too.
Oh, man.
What if you had
he
to
go
give,
there,
What if you
man.
had to give up Jimenez to get him?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
in.
like it.
Right?
I know. I'm in.
Yeah.
You wanted to get rid of him, and we got 75 second baseman still.
Yeah, I mean,
I like him, though. Like,
I do, too. I love him.
I mean, honestly,
I love him.
I give him up, though. No, don't get it wrong. He go.
Because talk about it. You got to think about it. You now have him
God.
and Bieber. That's 2 Cy Youngs. Then you got him and
And
Jose
McKenzie.
Ramirez.
You got
And
McKenzie, yeah.
And you got him and Jose Ramirez in the lineup and Bell. Stop, bro. This is crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
It would definitely sell. I tell you that.
Oh, my God.
It sell.
Yeah,
How-
well-
you know, I ranked mine, the order. Mine would be, I would do Ohtani,
make it happen.
Mitchell, and
This
D-Dub.
is number
Mitchell
one.
would be last for me.
So you would have
yeah.
Ohtani, Watson,
Ohtani is
and
one.
Mitchell?
Wait,
Ohtani-
what are you asking?
mean,
the biggest in
the
Cleveland?
biggest-
Yeah,
trade.
like
Oh, the
so,
biggest
so
trade.
if I was the general manager, my likelihood of all three, my likelihood would be I would do the Ohtani trade first. Mm-hmm. I would do the Mitchell trade second.
Oh, no,
I would
no.
have done the Watson trade last.
Flip it.
Flip it.
You gotta flip it, too.
I'll take Watson.
But everybody here would do the Ohtani trade over all the other
Yeah,
ones.
I'm just shocked
Yeah,
with you because
yeah.
you're, in terms of this, you're very conservative usually.
I am.
And so this tells you the fact that somebody like you, who's generally conservative with trades,
I am, yeah.
much more than the rest of us,
Right.
is like I would basically give up anybody to get him,
And that's probably
for 1 year.
But I'm putting my bias of being a baseball is it
Right.
for me.
I feel like I'm doing that
I'm
a little
more
too.
of a baseball fan than I
Yeah.
am football
I mean,
and basketball put
being
together.
able to watch that guy play for the Guardians, even for 1 year,
What if you
would
had-
be so special. You know, go back to the CC Sabathia trade with the Brewers. And I
Yeah.
know they didn't win the World Series
Nope,
that year.
but they gave
But
it
I
up
bet you
trying.
all those Brewers fans would do it again.
The chat wants to know, how will you feel if McKenzie was in the trade?
That was the one guy I was thinking.
That's my
That
boy.
hurt a little bit.
You know
That's
what,
my
I'd do
boy.
it.
I
I
don't
would
know
still
about
do
that.
it.
I would do it,
I'm
and
not
here's why.
Honestly,
I love him.
I love that's my dude.
I hold my breath every time he throws a pitch.
Why? Because he's skinny.
Yeah.
Listen, don't sleep on Skinny.
the only guy I wouldn't trade is Jose Ramirez. That's it. Even Bieber, if I had to.
Yeah, I would definitely not get rid of Ramirez.
Yeah, Ramirez
he's
is the
not
only
even-
guy.
Bieber, I feel like, is here on borrowed time anyhow.
I trade the whole
So-
team.
But you know what, though? I think you lose some of the, you lose
Yes,
your
you
chance.
lose some of the reason for
Yeah,
doing it.
some of the reason for doing it is because you think you have all the other pieces.
The three main guys I wouldn't want to trade are Ramirez, Bieber, and McKenzie. But in the end, I would,
I am right there with you.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
But I love the idea. I know McKenzie's been bad in spring training.
So why?
But the idea of having Bieber, like Tristan McKenzie is my third starter.
I'm not worried about
So-
McKenzie.
so-
He has
No,
been
I'm
bad.
not.
I'm not worried
I'm
about
not.
So they would. So here, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
Would they even, if you know how the front office is, would the front office even entertain it?
I think they
Sitting
I think,
around a table.
Are they going to have conversations like we're having? Maybe. But to Bull's point, are they going to do it? No.
I
They're
would be
frugal
stunned beyond
and-
belief.
They're frugal and they're conservative too. And I just can't imagine that they would throw all caution to the wind and let go of control of 4 superstars, all of which
Potential.
won't hit.
Yeah.
They have potential to be
Right.
really, really, really good players. And baseball universally agrees that these guys have the potential
I just
to be
think
really
the
good.
Guardians are. I trust them so much.
I do too.
To find guys to replace
I
those
do
guys,
too.
that I'm like, we'll fix it.
It's the only team in Cleveland where I say, we'll go
100%.
back to the well and we'll get more. That's what
Exactly.
we do.
Do you think so? First of all, the owner won't say anything, right? Do you think the move could get done if Tito said, "I think we should make the move," or the owner said, "We should make a move"?
Well, ultimately, it doesn't get done without the owner saying yes.
Yeah.
But I think if Tito went to ownership and said, guys, I've asked for nothing. You're giving me one of the lowest payrolls in baseball, and I'm delivering to you a team that competes into September and often into October every year. I'm playing my card. I want that guy.
I don't think they wouldn't do it because of money. I think it would be because of the prospect.
No, it wouldn't be money because
Yeah.
let's face it. The money of it is nothing.
Because we're not going to sign
If
him.
you traded for Ohtani in June, and you wouldn't do that unless the Guardians were really good.
Right.
In July, August, and September, that ballpark would be bonkers.
You'd make more money off ticket
Not
sales
not
than
only
what
for
you're paying.
Cleveland, but you have all these people, Japanese people from around the country that are coming to Cleveland to watch him play.
You just touched on something that could make it possible. You automatically, in Japanese advertising, would probably double what they're pulling in right now in the Cleveland market.
Easy.
That's a fact.
Because every single one of these games would be telecast back to Japan. Japan would have 3, if not 4, beat reporters at every single game covering Ohtani, and the Guardians would instantly pick up 50 million fans in the country of Japan. Who would buy merchandise?
Yes.
Who would watch games?
I understand that the Cubs.
So what's the downfall?
Well, you know what you would do? You'd monetize it by you'd see a lot of Japanese billboards in around Progressive Field.
I understand.
Just like you did in the World Baseball Classic.
Jay, I understand it's different because the Cubs have a higher payroll than the Guardians.
Yeah.
But in terms of the drought of winning a championship, the Cubs and Guardians are in the same boat.
Now we're in a boat all by ourselves.
You're in a boat by yourself. There is nothing. The Cubs in 2016 had a great farm system.
They did. There
was nothing that I would have been against them giving up to get a guy who can help me as much as Ohtani.
Not even Bryant?
Nothing.
Because at the time.
Well, if I could have gotten Ohtani, 100% I would have traded Bryant.
Yeah, because he's one of one.
Right.
Not just one of one right now. He's one of one in 135 years of baseball.
And there's certainly no prospects. The Cubs gave up two of their best prospects to get Chapman, who was at the time maybe the best closer in baseball.
And you were fine with it.
And I was fine because who cares? I'm trying to win. All right,
true or false? The new Guardians pitcher hitter. Let's get to know Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani.
That actually would have been great. Not enough time to prep that.
Right.
One last reminder: the Caller Racing, official sponsor of the noon hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, also from Northeast Ohio's official NASCAR race. We are going to get to know a new athlete in the great city of Cleveland. How about Dalvin Tomlinson? So far, the Browns' big-time signing, who is quite the character. So Anthony's on scores. If you have a question about scores, ask the voice
I'm
of
handicapping
God,
that I'm going to get last
answer.
in this one.
And with that,
Really?
I think there's at least a 37% chance Anthony screws up the scores.
he is the voice of God here.
48%, take it or leave it.
All right.
We'll take
Very
it.
good.
Question number 1. Dalvin Tomlinson was a 5-star prospect coming out of high school.
I don't even know where he went to school.
He's a 4-star.
Trade for Ohtani.
False. Tyvis says false.
Tyvis says true.
So if
Oh,
it
no,
is
I'm the
true,
only one that said true.
Bull's in the lead. And let's see the answer, Steve. Is Bull out to the early running? No.
False. 4-star.
Catch up. He was a 4-star.
You knew that?
That is correct.
Do I? Well, look.
Yeah.
I was going to play
Did
that.
you guys
out.
know that or did you guess?
I knew that.
I guessed. It ain't a
But
lot
there's
of...
one thing I know Fat Boy's up front.
Well, what's
one of
good
them.
is, because he's so new and he was such a big piece, a lot of people read his bio.
Yeah.
And so
that's shady.
maybe
Is
we will do better than I
that the
thought.
biggest piece we have?
Yeah. No,
this
yeah.
offseason?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's the biggest sign.
I think so.
They
He's
spent
the
way
biggest
more
piece.
money on him than everyone else.
Yeah,
So.
you're right.
All right, question number 2. Tomlinson is the first wrestler in Georgia State history to win 3 consecutive heavyweight state
Is
championships.
there a chance he's not even a wrestler?
Sure.
Maybe.
It's,
Maybe not.
it's possible.
He's actually the first gymnast to win 3 titles.
Jay says false. G says false. Bull and Tyvis say true. So 2 of you will be right. And with that, Tyvis Powell takes the lead. It is true.
Them D linemen, them good D linemen.
No, I thought he was a two-time. I thought he was a two-time,
Man,
or I thought there was a chance that he wasn't the first 3 times.
You never know with Mike's tricks.
By the way,
Mike Beg's a trick. Mike Beg is a trick.
the what you pick up from being a wrestler and playing that position, it's invaluable. It's all about weight,
Leverage.
and dispersion, and leverage, and
Did you wrestle in high school?
Heck, no, I'm a real athlete.
Basketball.
I play basketball. I put buckets up.
Had he wrestled, you know what? Had he wrestled, underneath his name right now, it would say former 11-time NFL player.
You're right.
You would have been a good. You probably would have been a good wrestler.
I Euro step better.
I thought about getting into sumo a few years ago, but didn't happen.
All right, number 3.
Question number 3. Dalvin Tomlinson repped 225 pounds 33 times on the bench press at the NFL Combine.
That is a bench 33 times face right there.
Yeah, that's a scary face.
I'm about to say.
Like, man, I do not want to see
If you were
in a
going to
dark
hire
alley.
him to endorse a product based on that look, what product would it be?
Built Bar.
Liquid plumber.
Liquid. That's so random.
Right, some gun or something.
No, you know what I would have him do? You know,
He looks badass.
I've never used them, but I've seen them advertised. Those man wipes. You
Oh,
know
dude
what I'm talking
wipes.
about? What are they
Hey.
called?
Dude wipes.
Dude wipes.
Hey, you got to
Yeah.
keep them at the crib. Gotta
I
keep
can't even
them.
remember the question.
Did he
Tomlinson
bench
repped
33?
225
reps.
times on the bench press.
I think he
No,
got
it's going to be 33 times.
35.
No, 33 was the question.
True, false. And G. Bush, the only one that got this, only 22 reps.
Oh, wow, really?
Man, listen.
That's low for a guy his
Very
size.
low.
Nah,
That
man.
face, by the way,
No,
looks like a guy
hey,
who benches more than 22
You
reps.
actually have to train to do 225. We be doing one rep. 225 over 20 times.
How many
is-
times did you hit it? What's the most?
I did it twice. One time I did it 21 times, but then I upgraded and got it 29 times.
Because you worked on it.
Yeah.
Close
It's-
to me,
it's
G.
just-
I did it 35 times.
15, and I racked that bad boy. Boom! That's all I needed.
Tyvus, low-key, you an outside backer.
The one thing I'll say about the Ohio
Right.
State players, the Ohio State players know how to get ready for the combine
Yeah, they
as well
do.
as any program.
Who weighs more, Tyvus or JOK?
Well,
Ooh,
Tyler
that's-
said he's 230, so
229 to be exact.
Oh, he got JOK.
Oh,
JOK.
and y'all did wrong for letting DeQuil say he would cut him.
I tried to.
he doubled
When
down.
I
after
tell
that.
down.
I was on the floor laughing. Like, wow,
He was,
he
too.
said Cuddy.
They were like, Daddy, what's wrong? I'm laughing at JOK.
He said
It's gonna be awkward if DeQuell gets hired as the linebacker coach.
Hey, listen, you see here, hey, DeQuell, don't give me that company line.
Oh, he's
I'm gonna
giving it
ask
to
you. Hey, yeah, save your checks. I know what it is.
You know, after further evaluating the young man, I find that he's got a lot of talents that I missed.
Yeah, look, we overlooked a couple of things.
Speaking of Ohio State's pro day, Jackson Smith and Jig with Tyvus. I don't know if I saw your text.
I seen it.
4.51 and a 4.53 in the 40.
that keep him in the first round.
Hey, whoa,
that's good.
4.51
Hey,
keep
hey,
him in there.
hey,
if it was 4.5 high, he was,
Hey,
he was
listen,
cutting it.
if you in the Archie Griffin Center, all Old State receivers are prerequisite for 4. I'm confused because that means he looked like 4'6".
G.
It's the
You
Woody
gotta
Hayes
remember.
facility.
You gotta remember. G. It's 32 times. He didn't do it at the combine because he didn't want that laser on his name.
That laser,
You go to
that
you
laser
do it
tough.
you do it at pro day. You got 32 GMs with
Really?
32
They don't
different
use
times.
a laser?
Heck no.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I thought for like programs like
everybody
Alabama,
out there
Ohio
like
State.
this.
That's why.
So
that's why
you got 32 different times.
That's why I wanted to see a 4.4. Because
That's why I always
4.4
tell
hand
you
is
4.46 FAT fully automatic.
Yeah.
that's fast.
That's me.
That's moving.
That's
You can
you
look
ran
at
at the combine?
forever.
That's
You,
moving.
forever. You can look
I
at my
can't- you
him. He pro day number.
Yeah, you can't
Pro day
you
number.
can't take
Yeah,
that
that's
away
true.
All
from
right,
me.
if we were running the 40 and I started to 20
No.
and
you're-
Tyvus
you're
starts at the
dead.
beginning, he's beating me?
You're dead.
Yeah,
Where
he's
do
got
I?
you.
What if I'm at the 30?
No, you'll
No,
beat
no,
him
no.
then.
Come on, dog. You're like.
What if I'm at the 25?
It's going to be close.
Yeah. I have to.
We
Yeah,
should
he
do
had
that
to get on his pony. You gotta
That
get
would
on
be
his
fun as hell.
genuine.
That would be
All right, go ahead, Mikey.
Next question.
What's the standings right now?
Voice of God Anthony.
I think it's
Tyvus
tied
and
with
G.
Tyvus
Bush
and G.
tied
Bush.
2-2.
Yeah,
Bull,
two
Jay
up.
tied 1.
Okay.
All-time second, came in second, and I'm the Phil Mickelson
When
of
the last
this.
time you won? I don't even know how many times. I think I'm
come in
going for
second a
9.
lot.
I come in second all the time, man. I'm Jay Mariotti.
Go ahead.
I get all
Question number
Hey,
3.
Mariotti.
Tomlinson had a 4.0 GPA in high school and was offered both an athletic and academic scholarship. to
Hey,
Harvard.
hey, Anthony, stop putting stuff up there and playing around on the teleprompter. He ain't had none of that. And this might be considered for profiling too.
You put true.
Yeah,
No,
he
hold
was
on.
in-
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Hold on. I didn't mean that. Thank you. Falsified records.
Should have left it.
You guys are profiling.
I'm
I'm
profiling.
not.
Should have
True.
left it.
Hey,
Thank you, Bull, for not profiling. It is true.
Yeah!
I'm
No
profiling.
GPA. He
Well,
There
was
was
Okay.
no way that was false. You got. I know,
scholarships to
Mikey.
Harvard.
No way he asked that question.
Hey, Tomlinson, when we come in, I got to talk to you, big dog. You had a 4.0?
No way that was going to be
Dang.
false. It's making fun of him, essentially, to some degree.
Hey, look, bro,
No, I didn't
listen.
think of it like that, Bo, but you're right.
Hey, look, I'm gonna keep doing it. If they ask me, Tyvus, is Tyvus got a 4.4 GPA or a 4.440? I'm going with the 4.440.
What was your GPA?
In college?
Yeah.
Not 4.4.
299.
Look,
Better than mine.
Yeah, that was exactly mine, too. I just missed a 3.
Hey,
I was sick.
I was, too.
I was sick.
And I missed I had a C that would have been a B, but I was a 79.9. So I always tell people I was as close as you could possibly come to getting Dean's List for my cum for college that you could possibly get.
Hey, man.
1/10 of 1 percentage point in one class kept me from getting it.
D stands for diploma.
You should have
Mike.
asked, like, you ain't nothing
I
you
just
can
wanna-
do.
I just wanna-
I begged.
Ain't nothing.
Hey, I still don't know.
All I
how
cared
that-
about was spending
Ready?
time at the radio station.
That's it.
That's all I cared about. Go
Next
ahead.
question. Tomlinson won 2 national championships at Alabama.
Nah, Saban got 7. One was with LSU. Tomlinson, 2. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. If he was there for a few years, I'm gonna go 2. Yeah.
I thought he went to Georgia.
So Bull, it's Bull is tied with G. Bush and
Yeah,
Ty now.
we all have 2. You
Yeah.
have 1.
So this
Voice of God Anthony can confirm.
Can't confirm.
False. False. True. True. 2 trues, 2 falses, and the trues are correct.
Yes, sir.
I
He'd win
changed
2.
it the last
So
second.
now it's
Damn it.
all of us have 2 and you have 3.
Yep.
Yes.
Now let's find a way G. Bush loses and comes in second, because that's what the chat wants.
gotta give the chat what they want.
You gotta give the chat what they want. Coming in that second.
G.
How many
Bush, you are a
questions we got left?
defensive- 3, I believe.
Oh, okay.
G. Bush is defensive lineman. This one should be up his alley.
Oh,
Steve, let's take it.
Let me see.
According to PFF, Tomlinson has never missed more than 4 tackles in a season.
See, this is tough because D linemen don't really never even get
I
tackles
was
like
gonna
that.
say that too.
4 tackles, that means you got a lot of opportunities. You ain't standing up. I'm gonna go with true. I mean, if you're a D lineman and you're missing like 8 tackles, that means that's.
By the way, I've switched my answer now 2 in a row. I switched to the wrong answer last time. Let's see if I've done that again.
True, false, true, true. 1 false, 3 trues, and Tyvus is tied.
Oh,
Lead again.
2 in a row. I switched to the wrong
What
answer.
was it?
5.
I can't believe I switched to the wrong answer 2 times in a
You
row.
corny, man. You corny,
Damn
man.
it.
I don't like you.
All right, so we got 3, 3, 2, 2, right? Everybody's still alive.
Yeah.
And we have 2 questions left.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So we tied.
Question number 7. Tomlinson's nickname is the Renaissance Man because on top of being an athlete, he's also an artist and musician.
Well, look,
See, I ain't gonna try to profile.
I'm gonna profile this again and stereotype it. If you got a 4.0, you go to Harvard, you gotta know what the D flat scale is. Yes, I'm gonna go with true.
D-flat scale.
I agree with that, actually.
True.
True,
Trues across the board.
Trues across the board, and you guys are all correct.
Come on now, don't play with me.
nickname is
Listen,
the Renaissance
hey,
Man.
hey,
So,
he-
Bull, if we get this right and they get it wrong, it's a 4-way tie.
Four-way
It
tie,
is.
It's never happened in the history of
it-
UCF.
that is, it's never happened.
Or
Anthony,
if
one
I
score
get
check
it
before
right
we
and
go
y'all
into
get
the
it
final
wrong, I
question.
could just be the
Got Bull and
9
Jay
times
with
champ.
3, Tyvus and G. Bush
got
with
10.
4.
Yeah.
You don't have 10.
I do. My name's on that.
I feel like these guys have to go back to all the shows and find out who the exact winner was. for
Right,
everyone.
right.
all
I
the
got
Wednesday
this-
shows.
I got 8.
Mike, you
to
don't
be
have
exact.
enough jobs to do.
Like
You- You're technically the producer, but we know
And-
you have 18 jobs on the
and
show.
graphics, and I'll be turning my graphics in like yesterday.
G. Bush actually sent his graphics in for tomorrow.
Yeah,
this
but
morning.
but his answer for the starting third baseman almost made me choke.
Yeah.
I
And
did
by-
threaten to fight
So
G for that, too.
I don't need your work 24 hours in advance.
Yo.
Take the extra time and get it right.
No, see,
by the way, starting in April, Mikey's going to have 42 jobs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
Crazy.
we'll tell you
But
that
game
later.
on
But
the line.
last
Yeah.
question.
Write my answer early.
Okay.
No,
Heading
it's
into
too
the
late.
final
God
question. Tomlinson wears number 94 because he was born in 1994. True or false?
Why you looking at me? Like,
All right. G, you.
Nobody, nobody does
I
that.
got
False.
They got different answers, so we got no
True. False. True. That means we're going to have a winner here.
shot. Yep.
Steve, before you take it, when you hit that graphic, Anthony, I want you to announce the winner. Steve played. Anthony, take it away.
It's unfortunately Tyvus, pal.
And we
you finished in second again.
I told you.
The only
But so did Bull and I.
The only
No, I
nine-time
finished
champ in
no,
UCSS history.
No, you tied him
Look at
for
that,
second.
man. The
I
Brown
finished
is
final
back where it
scores.
belongs.
All right, final scores. Bull with 3 correct, Tyvis with 5, G. Bush with 4, and Jay with 4.
The biggest rivalries in Cleveland. The Browns and the Steelers, and G. Bush in first place.
That's it.
Look at that, man.
I listen. I got so many second place wins. I can't even
By the way, did anybody notice Anthony gave those final scores as if he were a news reporter doing sports?
Yes.
His voice
Yeah, I
got
know.
much deeper, right? Y'all hear that?
5 to 3 to 4 to 4.
Last time I produced, chat told me I needed more bass in my voice, so I'm working on it.
Did they really? Chat.
You gotta have somebody kick you in the
The
balls.
chat is
sometimes.
brutal, dog. The chat is. I see them in there arguing with each other. They just.
But do understand that everybody in there, Anthony, wishes they were you. You understand that, right?
That's true. They're all jealous.
And some of them are saying, the hell I am jealous. they even killing them now.
Trust me, they'd all trade places with Anthony in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, you need more bass in your voice. Okay.
I don't know if they
What
could
show are
see
you on?
the stress
Nine-time
that we go
champ.
through back here.
Stop it.
Steve, do you want to
Nine-time.
take tag board
fictional.
real quick?
I swear, 9-time champ, baby. Count it up.
This is what it's like producing this show.
Yeah, it would be hard, man.
I do feel like that
Champs,
sometimes.
man.
I
Like,
can't
it's-
confirm.
You know what? I'm after Bill Russell. I'm not gonna lie. Bill Russell, he in his grave right now, thinking about coming back to life because he know that I'm on.
You're pushing on his 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he got 11, right?
April and Damon say 9-time champ. Listen,
I appreciate you, April.
Tyvis deserves it today.
Thank you.
I ain't gonna hate.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, they giving you love right now. They
I
showing you
appreciate
love.
y'all, man. I love y'all back.
What are we
Tyvis,
doing?
this might have been your best show today, Tyvis. You killed it today. No joke.
He always kills
You
it.
know, just,
But he came with the special teams analysis.
little bit of a
level
backhand
headed
comment.
segment
I try-
with
yeah.
the
A little bit of a
Jeudy.
backhand.
You know what?
comment.
It's good. That means that I'm getting better. That's the way I look.
And just
Always
now
get
that you're really feeling yourself, you ready to face that heat?
oh yeah.
You ready to get that smoke in the batter's box?
it. I feel bad.
What's coming
for
up?
you,
Guys, we're out of time. What's
Because
coming
your
up on
ball,
overtime?
really, when you see that
20
ball
seconds.
just, you're gonna be like,
We have
wow, this
15
kid really
seconds
should have
left.
played.
What's coming up on overtime?
baseball.
Oh, yeah, overtime. A question that Bull's son's friend asked.
Oh, yeah.
Ron and MJ in their primes versus the best high school team
Yeah.
in the country. Who
I
wins?
thought about this
Yeah.
after the workout, working out yesterday.
Who is the best
it's kind
high
of an
school?
absurd
What
question.
is this? LeBron and MJ on the same team
Yeah.
against the best high school team?
That's not actually what the kid asked.
It's just those two.
I
2-on-5.
Yeah.
Okay.
changed it to that.
I'm going with